I carry my headphones in my bag, right? Because I'm the only one that uses my headphones. And, man, these things are all tied up. I'm just getting ready to get on here. I haven't even cracked open my amino energy, just like that. And, yeah, there's a little bit of foobar going on with that thing. Kyle's over there trying to undo the mess that apparently happened. I don't know. Somebody's been lurking in my bag over here or something. Guess that just goes to show you when you carry that thing around all the time, that's what happens. Crazy. All right, welcome into the show. We got a big one for you today, as we usually do. Greg Rakestraw coming up at the bottom of the hour. The post-game show host had a much brighter post-game show to be a part of collectively with he and Bill Brooks and Barry Krause this past Sunday late afternoon. Greg's going to join us. We'll talk about that. Plus, I do want to go over some of these semi-state football matchups coming up this Friday. That is going to be spectacular. Plus, in case you haven't noticed, in the area, girls basketball underway, boys basketball is about ready to get underway. We are going to hit really one of the better times of the year. And thinking about that in mind with Hoop downtown at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. No, not the Pacers. We're talking about Michigan State, Kentucky. And Duke and Kansas. A lot of folks. I saw a lot of Kansas license plates driving aimlessly around town a little bit earlier. Certainly a lot of Kentucky fans up here. I love it, though. I do. I love when the Fieldhouse, I love when Indy is the focus of the college basketball world, which it is tonight. Nice, sweet kind of standalone going on. We're not going to get our focus taken away by the Pacers. That's coming up tomorrow night in Charlotte. Get to watch four of the Blue Bloods in college hoop go at it. Actually, I watched Gonzaga and Michigan State play on the deck of that aircraft carrier on Friday night. I thought that was pretty damn good, too. Nobody could shoot worth a crap because they're outside, I guess. That'd be my excuse. I'm just not a good shooter right now because I'm outside. Did you get that? Thank you, brother. That's a mess. That took you about 5 minutes. You're going to have to get overtime. You just rolled your eyes, too. I saw that. Just rolled your eyes. All right, big Colts news today. We'll get back to the hoop and all that with Greg at the bottom of the hour. The big Colts news today is that, like everybody expected, Shaq Leonard, he went to L.A. to have folks look at his back situation and why he was not what he had hoped to be, and clearly he was not. So they shut him down, and that's the smart decision here. Shutting him down, you go get him a look-see in Southern California, and they perform a procedure on his back that they say went well. This is from Ian Rappaport, by the way, from the NFL Network. And he is going to be out the remainder of the season. He was on the injured reserve anyway. And I don't think anybody out there, if you watch these games, you could tell. And you could even tell compared to the guy that we saw a year ago that was still able to make plays. He still had that acute playmaking ability in him, but he wasn't like altogether as healthy as certainly he wanted to be then. Got to go back about 3 years, I think, for that. If you're asking me this, I don't know where this ends up going. What's he have, 2 more years left on a deal? I have to look that up. Zaire Franklin certainly has played well this year. Bobby Okereke is going to be up for a new contract coming up. He helped save the game, the play before last, on Sunday in Las Vegas. EJ Speed, I believe, is another linebacker that is up. It will be interesting to see how they end up at what a lot of folks would consider a non-essential position, how they end up dealing with this as far as contractually speaking for the future. Leonard's got 2 remaining?
No, he's got 4.
4 remaining.
2026.
Oh, 2026. That's long term right there. And he was such a great playmaker as of a year ago, even kind of dragging himself around a little bit. So huge to this defense. And then this year, guys in for him, guys that were around his position did step up. So, Okereke, EJ Speed are guys you'll look at because their contracts, are up coming up at the end of this year. I think Okereke's played pretty well. EJ Speed, when he's been given an opportunity, has played pretty well, too. And I think everybody's been happy with Zaire Franklin. But that is the latest on Shaq Leonard, and nobody should be surprised. I think everybody expected that. Yeah, hopefully, longer term, he can come back and be somebody that you can lean on once again with that playmaking ability. But, man, some guys have started to come correct around him. Big off-season decisions coming. I don't know who it was last night that sent me those pictures, the standalone pictures. Remember yesterday I was talking about at the end of that video in the locker room? It is probably nothing. It looks like it's something, but it's probably nothing. But those standalone pictures in the locker room that some dude sent me last night, a lot of you got in there and commented on it. I mean, listen, you can get us all in what we're doing on a daily basis, and maybe we'll all look bad, and I'm certainly no body language expert. I don't know about you. When somebody comes on and says, well, you can tell by the body language or you can tell with the eyes, do you immediately announce BS? You got it, don't you? Yeah, wait a minute. Oh, that body language. Those were still photos, by the way, and those were those still photos from the post-game locker room celebration I was talking about yesterday. I just thought it was more interesting that Jim Irsay had to ask Chris Ballard twice to come up and, along with him, present the game ball to Jeff Saturday. It's going to be interesting to hear what everybody's going to be talking about regarding Jeff Saturday this week. If you watched Monday Night Football last night, Eagles didn't look that great. And the Commanders did. The Commanders just stuck with the run. Can you imagine the game plan coming up on Sunday with Jonathan Taylor in mind? We were just talking before we started the show, too, and I think it was Jimmy was in here, Kyle was in here, and we were talking about will they in Washington replace, and that has no effect on what you're doing or what you're watching or the Colts whatsoever. But, Carson Wentz is able to come back off of IR, is healthy enough to play. Will they replace Taylor Heineke with Carson Wentz? And while it may seem like a tough decision, always seemingly with Carson Wentz, that's like the easiest decision to make. Well, we're playing really well right now, so why don't we go ahead and go with what we have? Why don't we go ahead and go and do with what we're doing right now? Seems like Carson Wentz has had that explanation laid out to him a couple of different times. The NFL season as a whole has been incredibly odd. Just when you think you're locked in on a team that is head and shoulders above everybody else, that team's not at all head and shoulders above everybody else, and all you have to really do is look at Buffalo on Sunday. And now everybody is calling the Vikings the great team. But you watch the Vikings, you always got to consider Kirk Cousins. Always. They have Justin Jefferson. They had Dalvin Cook. They have some great offensive pieces. But it's just a matter of time before we question that again, too. That's probably what makes this season so interesting, because it is just a number of teams you throw in there and then see who's going to come out at the end. I know everybody gets sick and tired of talking about it, and frankly, I do too. Because it shouldn't be that way. You would like to see the Colts one of these days take that away, but until they do, you still see a team like the Tennessee Titans just kind of, at times, flailing away, but winning. Like the ultimate grinding team of all time. That's what you can count on. I always ask about these things that you can count on within your football team that you follow. Some things that you can count on. I don't know what you can always count on with the Titans, but if there is anything that you would ask me about right now, I would suggest it would be always being able to count on them grinding. Just grinding it out, maybe winning in the end, because if you watch that first half, even if you saw the highlights of the first half, you're thinking, oh, here we go. Denver's going to get them on Sunday. Just kind of hang in there a little bit. Don't lose sight. And then end up taking it away late in the second half, and there you go. But no, the NFL season has been incredible. I guess this is what you like. Would you rather have that, or would you rather have one dominant team? Do we like it more like this, or is this just a lot of inadequate teams squaring off against one another? Would you rather have this, or would you rather have something else? I guess that's the question you need to ask. Now, for the bettors out there, and we do our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila shots every single Thursday, that thing is whack like you wouldn't believe. Talk about things you're trying to count on there. That's one thing. You see my fantasy deal last night? So I lost. And I lost because I didn't see that. I should have asked Jimmy that Mecole Hardman was going to be out, and I didn't put anybody else in. And I had guys that were out because of injury. I had guys that were out because of the bye week. And, man, I did a great job in the last minute of substituting and getting guys in that can help. And then I forgot to substitute for him. What'd I end up losing, by 4? 5?
No, boy, you lost by 1 point.
What? 1 point? I lost by 1 point?
1 point.
Love it. 1? See, if I would have just
120 to 119.
I could have basically put anybody in there. I could have put anybody in there and won. Man. That's pretty bad. 1 stinking point. Man, you think you got it all covered, and then you don't. I should have asked Jimmy. I know I should have. I was pretty proud because of the guys I had to sub out. We're talking about good guys. I'm having to live right now, sustain, survive without Jamar Chase. And the kicker had a bye week. Lamar Jackson had a bye week. Tua had a great week. He's the backup quarterback that nobody else wanted, and here I am screwing it all up. Well done. Man, I suck. 1 point. I thought it was more than that. I just saw it last night, and I thought, here we go. But no, it's kind of like that and a pick 'em every week. If you've noticed that, better than halfway into this season, it's kind of like that. That's what the NFL is like right now. Like all these things that you believe that you see that are true a week prior absolutely are erased the next week. I guess you would have to ask yourself, is that a better, is it just the level of play being lower, everybody being more even? Does that make it more interesting or not? That's the question I guess you have to ask yourself. I think a lot of people, I know about 19 different times. Yesterday afternoon, I said, hey, come out here to the Lebanon Buffalo Wild Wings. We'll give you a chance at Eagles-Colts tickets, and more than likely you're going to be there to see the Eagles unbeaten take on the Jeff Saturday-led Colts, and Jeff Saturday making his interim head coaching Colts debut. I tried to sell it that way, and then the Eagles go out and just flat face it last night. At home against the Commanders. And a missed face mask call. I know if it were our team, we would be all in on some of those whiffs with officiating. And believe me, in the NBA, I love to do that. I love to make fun of the best of the world of the NBA. But with the NFL, if it happens to somebody else, normally we don't go to it. I'm sure that we would if it happened with the Colts. And the Colts have had the lack of a benefit with a face mask that should have been called that wasn't. Or actually one that was called and wasn't even a face mask, if you remember. I know everybody was complaining about that play last night, too. All right, the Colts, as I mentioned, Shaq Leonard is done for the season after having back surgery today. Got 4 years remaining on his contract, and then going to have some interesting decisions to make as far as the Colts are concerned with Okereke and Speed, among others, with the way that they have played even without Shaq Leonard. Folks ask me all the time, do you think he's ever going to be what he was going to be? Because you mess with the back, and that's kind of a salty situation. There's no doubt about it. I couldn't tell you. My expectation is that he should and needs to be, but I can't tell you without a shadow of a doubt that he is going to be reminiscent of the guy that you expected to see a couple of years ago. And really, even last year when he was still making plays, but still kind of dragging his body around with injuries. Yeah, the back is especially in a heavy, elite collision sport like that. And we all know this with the Colts, you're never holding your breath. It's kind of the way that goes. Saw Parks Frazier met with the media a little bit earlier today. You know, he kept that as simple as he kept the game plan. I do hope that it lasts for him. And a lot of people were right to challenge me yesterday. Because you go back, Bob Kravitz and I were having a conversation, and Bob Kravitz is still firmly against it and thinks that the Colts are a clown show. Now, did I agree with the path that they selected last week? No, but you have to break it down in the fashion in which it went down. Thus, you look at Sunday, they got a win. They played better. They played consistently better. And we'll see how that translates to Philly. Yeah, Bob was still not happy with what went down. I had asked Bob yesterday this. To me, I think everybody that was against it last week, and even if you're still against it right now, or at least a non-believer in it, had they done it at the end of the year and just not in a flurry early in the week, mid-season, would you view that differently? You think the rest of the NFL would have viewed that differently? And again, it doesn't matter. And frankly, I'm glad that Jim Irsay got to get out and to gloat on those that called him out over the past week. But you also have to remember this team, this season is not yet even close to the end of the finish line. And that's when you're truly going to gauge how all this went. And I mean, not just that, but all of it. As I mentioned yesterday, I was just happy for everybody here because it has been fleeting. Your opportunity to celebrate, your opportunity to be happy about something. It has been one of the more disappointing seasons that I have been around here, and I go all the way back to 84. And that's in terms of the performance leading up to this point compared to the expectations that were out there. And granted, we make up the expectations, but we're not the only ones. The Colts also make up those expectations. The owner is the one that creates those high level of expectations. Then you have to go get it done, and then we don't live up to it, and you have all this going on within the season of play. That leads to heavy opinions. That leads to this guy needs to be gone, that guy needs to be gone. I just think when you look at it, everybody, what's up, would have been, and I'm not just talking about us, I'm talking about the national folks. Yeah, I'm talking about the national folks like Cower on CBS on Sunday, or Joe Thomas, or anybody else who brought that high level of negativity. I mean, to a point. Thank you, Sienna. That's a very nice Christmas tree you have in here. I wonder what's going to be hanging on that coming up in a month. Yeah, nice. Yeah. I'm trying to be really nice right here. But to me, everybody just wanted to go so over the top. Cower went over the top. Thomas went way over the top. At least Cower was speaking from a former coach, good old boy network angle, I guess. It sounded like Thomas was just making crap up. But this is what this is going to be. This is going to be a week-to-week thing to where is this adrenaline, this rush of positivity, the sense of urgency that Jeff Saturday brought. And if you remember, after every disappointment this year, it always seemed like somebody was quoted using the word, or the term in this case, sense of urgency. After every game. Yeah, we got to play with more of a sense of urgency. If there is one thing that you saw on Sunday, that seemed to be the case. Now, you get into an interim situation, oftentimes, this is not long lasting. You get a shot of adrenaline, and then you come back, and things start to fall back into place. You are more than likely the same team that had disappointed often leading up to. And then you kind of lose that fury that you had the week prior. That's what's going to be most interesting about all this. Are they going to be able to sustain? And that's starting with the offensive line. You watched Washington last night run the football and run it some more. The offensive line on Sunday created some run lanes, and one huge run lane for Jonathan Taylor. And it starts right there. Are they able to sustain a level of play that is more than acceptable? And honestly, what a lot of us expected. Can this juice, can this enthusiasm with Jeff Saturday that was clear on Sunday, can that translate to a much better team coming off a Monday night disappointment? And then further down the road. So everybody wants to judge it right now, and including Jim Irsay. And it's okay. I do it after every Pacer game where Myles Turner has a good game. I'll tell you guys all about it, because most of you guys are buttholes. I'll tell you all about it. And I'll continue to tell you all about it. That's exactly how Jim Irsay felt yesterday. He wanted to tell everybody, including us around here, all about it. But is this sustainable? Hopefully it is, but the schedule does, at many points down the rest of the season, get pretty difficult. And it all starts up front. And speaking of those offensive line numbers, Ben Brown of PFF, the data scientist, joins us coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We're going to get a lot of those offensive numbers out to you and how they translated after Sunday's game compared to where they were prior, and especially after that New England game, where he and they saw the difference. And I think with that, we can also get a pretty solid gauge, analytics-wise, on Parks Frazier. If there was anything in that Sunday game that I was most happy about with the success and that win, it was having Parks Frazier get thrown in to that situation and perform very well. We'll see where the difference was. Ben Brown joins us in the 4 o'clock hour. Stephen Holder of ESPN.com. Going to join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Edgerrin James tomorrow, the Hall of Famer. What time's he on tomorrow?
4:15.
I can't wait for Edgerrin James. We'll talk about Jeff Saturday, his former teammate, and a lot more. I was kind of curious. I wonder if any former Colts are going to make the home debut in coaching for Jeff Saturday on Sunday. What do you think?
You think if they know what they know now, they kind of would have moved that Tartt Glenn Ring of Honor ceremony back a couple weeks? They were all just here.
But he couldn't go out. He couldn't go out there, though. You're talking about Jeff Saturday going. Jeff Saturday couldn't go out there then.
No.
If he were the coach.
But all the guys would be back in town.
Well, I mean, it'd be tough to have justified that. I take that back. It wouldn't have been tough, but it was certainly hardcore justified after the New England game.
Yeah.
Doing something like that. I'm just kind of curious if maybe some of his former Colts teammates make it out when he makes his coaching debut here coming up on Sunday. Edgerrin James, we'll talk to Edgerrin James coming up on tomorrow's show. And a guy that also brought up the inspiration that Jeff Saturday brought to the locker room. And not that he needed it, because he's played well basically through an elbow injury and now playing as well as anybody up front. DeForest Buckner joins us coming up on Thursday's show. And if you really want to get the pulse of somebody inside that locker room, that would be the guy to go to. And the effect that this change made. And not stomping on the grave of the former coach by any stretch of the imagination. That's not where we're taking this. But just the vibe of that locker room going into this game and then after this game on Sunday compared to what it was prior. DeForest Buckner will talk about that with us That is coming up on Thursday. I think later on in the week as well, we're going to have some Bullseye Event Center passes for you for that Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. That should be a fun one coming up on Sunday. All right, Greg Rakestraw, Ben Brown, Stephen Holder, 239-1070 is the number inside the lounge via YouTube Live. Love to see you guys in there. We'll start communicating about things that are going on with a lot of people in the downtown area for some major college hoopage later on tonight. Kentucky, Michigan State, Duke, and Kansas, all at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. That is the Champions Classic. We'll dive into that and a lot more. The stream, the app, HD Radio. You got us locked in as well. Inside the Lounge via YouTube Live, Facebook, Twitter, and 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Back with you next.
Well, I'm an orthopedic surgeon, board certified.
Meet Dr. John Herzog, who's certainly done his share of knee and hip replacements. But these days, he's encouraging his patients to look at regenerative medicine options, now available at QC Kinetics.
I'm kind of the anti-surgeon right now, and a lot of my buddies, if they hear me talking, they're going to give me a call.
Dr. Herzog says advances in regenerative medicine can give your achy joints lasting relief, using highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
We take the fluid out of you, we concentrate it and put it in an area where they couldn't normally get to and facilitate healing.
Are you suffering from constant pain due to arthritis or injury? Maybe it's time to look at alternatives to drugs and surgery at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in these exciting treatments.
What could be more natural than using your own body to heal yourself?
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
Hopefully, you'll never have a house or business fire. But if you do, hopefully, you'll never forget this name, Michaelis. They can be there before that lump in your throat goes away. In fact, they're the reason it goes away. Over 35 years of helping people recover from faulty wiring, lightning strikes, or that unattended pot of pasta on the stove. Michaelis crews often roll in before the fire hoses are rolled up. Their proven process of water extraction, smoke removal, and content storage will calm your nerves. Then their talented craftsmen will rebuild your home and restore your spirits. That starts by being your advocate with the insurance company. You'll find Michaelis doesn't just feel for you, they work for you. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
It's time to move our feet so others can eat. At the 20th anniversary of the Wheeler Mission Drumstick Dash, presented by Huntington Bank this Thanksgiving morning in Broad Ripple. There's something for the whole family at this incredible Indiana holiday tradition, including a 4.5 or 2.75 mile course, free Little Gobblers run for the kids, and a virtual option. Register to run or walk today at drumstickdash.org. Drumstickdash.org. Move your feet so others can eat this Thanksgiving morning at the Wheeler Mission Drumstick Dash.
Hey, shout out to Joe and John, my friends at Connecticut. You want to know why? Because they have a tremendous pre-Black Friday sale that's going on. 2 locations here in central Indiana of Connecticut. And I always talk about it. In fact, I just went ahead and put new bags of salt in my system because I want the best water possible, and so do you, with great deals as we get closer and closer to the holiday season right now on the K5 in-home drinking water station, as well as... You got it. The Premier Series water softener. Here's what I want you to do. Slide by one of the locations. Ask about the pre-Black Friday sale and get yourself the best water possible in your home thanks to my friends at Connecticut. The locations, Northeast Side Castleton, South Side US 31, and Southport Road. The Connecticut Water app. Download that to your smartphone or device today or online, ConnecticutIndy.com.
Helzberg Diamonds presents The Guy Who Did His Homework. When it came to Jill's engagement ring, Brady knew exactly what to get.
Okay, so I came up with a design and showed it to all of our friends.
She'll love it.
Then he went to Helzberg. Their incredible selection of high-quality, lab-grown, and natural diamonds made creating that special ring easy. Her reaction?
I love it. Can't wait to tell everybody.
Everybody might know about it.
Be like Brady. Create the ring of her dreams at a Helzberg near you or at Helzberg.com. Ask now about special financing offers.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go, so I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partner with Beacon. With the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Searching, ordering, tracking. It's like having my Beacon rep in my pocket 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
Right now, buy 4 Ultimate Washes and get 2 free, available online or at any Crew Car Wash location. Plus, get a free bonus wash now through November 30th.
It's the Colts VIP Tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Make your game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your tickets now. It's bullseyeeventgroup.com.
The Ride with JMV.
This will be the high point of my day. It's all downhill from here.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Ben Brown, the PFF data scientist in the 4 o'clock hour. Stephen Holder of ESPN.com will talk about Shaq Leonard, done for the season. Back surgery out in Southern California today. Inside the Lounge via YouTube Live. Look, you can watch me right now. I'm reading this. I'm reading what you guys have to say about me right here. Apparently, the IU fans inside the Lounge via YouTube Live would like me to book Stephen Bardo for the show. Steve Bardo, is that what you guys are saying? You want Steve Bardo on the show? Here's the reason why. IU fans are all bent out of shape, and I'll be honest with you, sometimes it gives me a little bit of pleasure when IU fans get bent out of shape about anything. A little bit of pleasure. But it been out of shape because Steve Bardo made his top 5 freshmen did not include Hood Schifino. So they're all been out of shape. So you guys want me to book? Hey, Grifty, you want me to book Stephen Bardo? We can do that tomorrow if you guys need it. Hey, college hoop at the Fieldhouse gets started coming up in just a bit. We're talking Michigan State, Kentucky. And then the nightcap is Kansas and Duke. On the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he is Greg Rakestraw. Greg Rakestraw called in after the Monon Bell and the victory for DePaul on Saturday early evening. And for the all 90s, nothing but the 90s JMV takeover, requested the young black teenagers tap the bottle and twist the cap. That's well done.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I know a lot of people, give you kind of the standard boilerplate fare of the 80s and 90s. I like to bring things that have been, you have to unearth to kind of, bring them onto the show. So
you made me work for that, for real. You did.
I think that ranks up there with, AB Logic from a few weeks earlier.
I think, too, I'm just guessing, that was the first time that song has ever played on those airwaves. Just guessing.
We say it every week on that show, correct, though? That's kind of the way that it works, the whole point of it.
I was going to ask Bernie. I said, Bernie, did you ever play Young Black Teenagers between Gordon Lightfoot and Air Supply back in the day? I was just curious. But
I'm going to say Scribble and Jamal made their B1057 debut on Saturday night.
Hey, speaking of which, the Monon Bell, that's quite a performance over there before you, I guess, on Saturday afternoon.
That was the largest margin of victory for DePaul in 24 years in that rivalry. The games had been really close the last 5 times they had played. They've all been one-score games. Last year, DePaul got up 21-0, and then Wabash won the game 42-35. Liam Thompson, former quarterback at North Central, Wabash's quarterback, still finished as perhaps the best Division III quarterback this year. The numbers he had been putting up had been staggering. And so for DePaul's defense to shut him down in that fashion and have not one but 2 pick sixes in that game was pretty remarkable. DePaul's going to go on and play in the Division III playoffs this week. Wabash's season ends at 7-3. But DePaul, I'm not sure they make a run this year. But, John, they bring back every defensive starter on that team next year. And they had 4 shutouts this year. They slowed the nation's first or second best offense on Saturday. Brett Dietz is building himself a powerhouse over in Greencastle at DePaul.
Hey, give a quick shout-out, too, to Marion in the postseason coming up on Saturday, too.
Marion and UIndy, both in the postseason. So Marion for NAI, UIndy for Division II. UIndy heads out to Pittsburgh State in Kansas. I may have to go by Dallas Flowers' locker and see if I can get him in a friendly wager. I'm at Colts practice tomorrow for that. But Marion gets play host to St. X out of Chicago as they have a home game in the NAI playoffs. So we are officially now postseason, D2, D3, NAI. The FCS guys begin their postseason play the following week.
Yeah, so good on them, and good on the football around here. You also, on the postgame show, you, Barry Krause, and Bill Brooks on Sunday evening got to talk about some positivity and a win. And I've gone over the past day and then into the first segment here on what I saw and what was good compared to what we had seen. Certainly now what was good with Jeff Saturday being the interim head coach. I just thought, to me, keeping it simple and then letting everybody do their gigs, perform their jobs.
Yep.
And to me, that's the only thing you could do in that situation if you're Jeff Saturday. But you let everybody do their gigs. And in terms of Parks Frazier, it was a new gig. But I thought it worked out great with the approach that they had to take on Sunday.
Simplify and do what you do better. Because of the timing of Jeff getting in the building on Monday, of not deciding who your play caller was until Tuesday. And normally by the time you get to that point in time on Tuesday, man, the game plan is largely set. And then guys are starting to practice it on Wednesday. I thought it was the only way they could have handled it. And so Jeff Saturday as CEO for week number 1 went awfully well. Now I'm curious to see, now that you've got Matt Ryan back in there, now that you've got an extra week, now that you frankly are going to be playing against a coach that knows your system a lot better in terms of Nick Sirianni, do you have to diversify? Do you have to add to it going into week number 2? But clearly, they had all the right notes to get that W on Sunday afternoon.
Full disclosure, I don't know, after watching last night and Washington's offensive approach, it seems like a heavy dose of Jonathan Taylor would be what you're going to lean on.
When I looked up, I didn't watch all of last night's game, but watched enough of it. And when I flip on in the third quarter, and the time of possession, which I'm like, that has to be a typo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It said 30 minutes to 7. And I go, a lot of Jonathan Taylor going to get the football on Sunday afternoon. So absolutely, I'd be pounding the rock with number 28 until they can prove they can stop it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, too, that I guess is an expectation. But what do you think? I heard guys, talk about, the sense of urgency, and that had been a buzz term after some disappointing losses, certainly when Frank Reich was still the coach here. What made the sense of urgency certainly look more real for Jeff Saturday in Vegas and that squad this past Sunday than it did in some of those disappointing weeks prior, Greg?
Listen, anytime you're going to change the voice, there's going to be an immediate reaction. The proof will be what happens over the next 7 weeks. I'm not trying to minimize the feel-good factor of Jeff Saturday, the job that he did, the job Parks Frazier, the players did, Matt Ryan being a pro and being ready, et cetera. Not trying to minimize that. But there is always going to be, when you have that much of a jolt to the system, when the voice that these guys have heard, and some of them for 4.5 years, others 4 years, et cetera, when that voice gets removed and it is somebody completely new, you do this subconsciously. Everybody kind of perks up a little bit. Everybody kind of picks things up. And now it will be, all right, do the Colts play the same way in week number 2 of the Jeff Saturday era? I think they will, A, because they know how good their opponent is, but B, I think Lucas Oil is going to be rocking on Sunday for a couple different reasons. One, anybody that has a ticket to that game that owns a Jeff Saturday jersey is going to be wearing it. You're going to see a lot of number 63 in the crowd, and that's what's unique about Jeff and how popular he was and how good the Colts were when he played here. How many towns have fans that voluntarily say, I want to buy the jersey of the starting center? And there were 63s all over the lot, in that decade that Jeff was a part of this team. So that's one. And two, the Eagles are good, and the Eagles have a fan base that only gets to come watch their team play here every 8 years. I mean, a good amount of Eagles fans are going to be in the building too on Sunday. So I don't think it'll be a problem for this team to be fired up and ready to go, because I think the atmosphere is going to be crazy, to be honest with you, in Sunday afternoon's game at Lucas Oil. Now let's see in weeks after that. Again, do you have that same intensity, that same preparation, that same attention to detail that we saw from this football team on Sunday against Las Vegas?
He's Greg Rakestraw on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, and I get some doom and gloom responses to the news regarding Shaq Leonard. you knew that he more than likely was not going to return, and you knew more than likely when they went to L.A. they were going out there with a purpose, with a reason, and they did. Yeah, the back surgery situation, and they're going to give it from now until the entirety of the offseason to get ready for 2023. But people ask me, and I'm curious your thoughts, because I really don't know. It's a back, and it's scary with this, high-powered collisions these guys all get involved with in the NFL. But do you think he's ever going to be what we and the Colts thought he was going to be after going through all of this?
I don't know. And you laid out the reasoning very well. He's always been a guy that's played better in space, despite the fact that he's racked up a lot of tackles. He's always been a bit of a ball hawk. And so maybe those attributes will translate well to him, returning in 2023. But knowing now that after an off-season surgery, then you have to have another surgery to repair that, and you played, impeded, still made plays, but played impeded the year before that, am I concerned that we ever see Shaquille Leonard play to the level that Darius Leonard once did? That is a very fair concern to have, Colts fans, a very fair concern.
It makes me wonder as well. All right, so you got a couple of, at the end of the season, free agents. I believe EJ Speed, backup linebackers one. Bobby Okereke is the other. It's going to be interesting to see how they end up handling this, whoever ends up handling this in the offseason.
Right, and again, I think both guys can play. I'm curious as to how Shaquille Leonard's contract is handled. Because, again, if you have Okereke, if you want to bring back EJ Speed, you're not going to pay 4 guys starting linebacker money. I'm not sure they're going to pay 3 guys starting linebacker money. Zaire Franklin's going to be one of those guys. Depending on what you do with Leonard's contract, there's a second guy. Do you splurge and go ahead and bring back Okereke? That doesn't leave any room for EJ Speed. They were able to do that the last several years because, Franklin, Speed, Okereke, and before his big extension letter were all rookie deals. You could afford to do that. You can't do that once you get to second contract. So 2 of those guys, maybe 3 are going to get not just bank, what would be their deserved contracts in the National Football League. You obviously can't do that for all 4.
It's Greg Rakestraw with us. I do want to shift gears before I let you go here. Semi-State Friday night is coming up, and it is a who's who of fantastic matchups, as it normally is across the board.
It is. I am going to, I'm not sure I've announced this on Twitter yet, so I guess I'm kind of breaking news, here on the program. So for 4 years, I was the voice of the Ron Colligan Rebels, now the Royals. And during my days of doing those games, there were some amazing postseason games. There was a stretch in 2004 that Jason Warner made plays that I have not seen, basically equaled on a high school football field in some 18 years later. The year before that, in 2003, maybe one of the best 5 football games I have ever called was Roncalli and East Central in the Semi-State in St. Leon that Roncalli won in overtime by going for 2 after a roughing the kicker call on an extra point that was converted. Roncalli took the point off the board, went for 2 in the win with half this to the goal, and got it in what is still a contested call 19 years later by the folks in southeastern Indiana. I'm going to relive that to a certain degree. I have the call of the Roncalli East Central game on Friday night on IHSATV.org. Lance Shive is heading down I-74 with me. Looking forward to going back to St. Leon and that neck of the woods. That's my game on Friday night is Roncalli and East Central, but all the way across the board. Cathedral Center Grove. That Roncalli East Central game. Chittard West Lafayette is going to be absolutely huge in 3 on the northern half of the state. But we've got good matchups. As you would expect, we have the 4 teams in each classification. I think it's going to be a fun night of football. It's a silly night of football, but a fun night of football nonetheless.
So let me get this straight. So it was first going to be at Arlington for Cathedral.
Yep.
And then Center Grove and what they want to call, the Mud Bowl. And now it's moved to Tech, correct? Why is that?
Moved to Tech because field conditions will not be a factor, and frankly, you can fit a lot more people at Tech.
Makes sense.
Tech from a standpoint of being able to hold a crowd, you can get far more people there than you can at Arlington. And knowing that a Center Grove Cathedral game, you could get 10,000 there without putting much of an effort. I'm not sure they can fit 10,000 at Tech, but they can fit more at Texarkana and Arlington. So field conditions one, even though we've had largely we've had about as good a weather as we could possibly have for high school football. So the grass field at Arlington will be as good as it could be in week number 14. But if you go to Tech, you take care of your field conditions get eliminated, and you can get more butts and seats as well.
Who's the Mr. Football in the state of Indiana this year?
Probably Drake Bowen from Andrean High School that is going to go play at Notre Dame. Young man's going to play 2 sports at Notre Dame. He's an outstanding baseball player, too. But my guess would be, and I expect the Niners to be able to make it to the state championship for a second year in a row, I think it's Drake Bowen from Andrean.
It's been a heck of a season, too. And obviously, being down by Center Grove, that's going to be a hell of a matchup with Cathedral. But I think Eric, and he would tell me to shut up, and that's fine. But you talk about a coaching job with all that was lost a year ago and the injuries and, getting to this point. It's been an impressive season for them. Probably not what he would tell me to say on the air, but there's no doubt it has been.
I don't think there's any doubt in terms of the legacy that Eric Moore has left at Center Grove. Frankly, what he has meant to Indiana high school football coaching, and let me explain that. There's a lot of coaches other places that are part of the Eric Moore tree. So that's one aspect of it. Two, when he began running the wing tee offense at Center Grove in '99, nobody else ran that offense at the major high school level. A few years later, more and more schools are running a variation of that offense. So he's changed a little bit in terms of able to spread it out and let guys throw the football. But when they needed to move the football last week, what they line up in? Wing tee. It's what they went back to in their game against Warren Central. So there's that. But this team in particular, I see so many corollaries. Again, I'll go back to my days of doing Roncalli. Roncalli in 2005 made the 4A state championship without the level of talent they had the years previous. And I think it was in large part because they had kids that had not experienced anything in the way of losing and kids that had extra, 5 extra weeks of practice 3 years running because of making runs to the state finals. I see that in this Center Grove group. They're nowhere near as talented from 1 to 22, but they had kids that literally knew nothing of losing the last 2 years and got to practice all the way to Thanksgiving weekend. And eventually that pays off. And I think those are the traits that you see in the Center Grove football team.
I've always said this, too. He has had, from the gate, from the opener, everybody within that program pushing in the same direction. And while he's got his eyeballs on everything, I mean, from top to bottom, young and old here, but he also delegates authority to those lieutenants that he trusts to do the same. That is an absolute perfect blueprint on how to not just run, but build from a grassroots program. And I don't think that should be lost. To me, there'll be a lot of folks, certainly, that have their own programs, no matter what sport, Greg, that probably should look at that blueprint.
Exactly. Center Grove is the public school that has most emulated what I call the CYO model. And that is everybody in a certain CYO system, you're going to run the system of the high school you're feeding into. That's the way you're going to play the game. That's the way Center Grove has run their program. And they're a game away from playing for a 4th consecutive state championship, or playing, I should say, in a 4th consecutive state championship game.
Hey, really quick, too. Travel hours, 2 hours to play a semi-state game. Bob Johnson wants to know if that game should be on a neutral site. I don't know what game that is. Do you know what Bob's talking about here? The 2 hour to play?
Monrovia, Lawrenceburg would be of that ilk. I'm sure there's other ones that I can't think of off the top of my head. Whiteland and Castle would come to mind. I would say this: it's the way we've always done it. And you try to alternate games. In other words, if you were at home for the regional, you should be on the road for the semi-state, et cetera. It's the way that it's always been. We've not done neutral sites in this state until you get to a state championship game. The example that I could give you from about 4 years ago was Marion had to go play at Evansville Central one time for a semi-state because there were that many 4A schools in like the region, South Bend, Fort Wayne area that Marion's in the southern half of the bracket. It is what it is. I would put that into the hashtag of first world problems. If you're concerned that you have a 2 hour drive to make to play your state tournament game, it means you're still playing. That's a good problem to have.
Hey, enjoy the Lauk effect coming up on Friday night down in St. Leon, all right? Across the board.
I was going to say, I know just a few of them. I'll be sure to make sure I pass along your best regards.
You got it, buddy. Appreciate you.
See ya.
It's Greg Rakestraw, the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Top of the hour, Ben Brown, PFF, Stephen Holder in the 5 o'clock hour. Me and you at 239-1070. Don't leave next.
107.5 The Fan is your one-stop shop for the Indianapolis sports fan. Colts, Pacers, IU, and insights from Kevin Bowen, JMV, Dan Dockett, Jake Query. Your home for Indy sports. 107.5thefan.com.
Join us on Monument Circle for Downtown Indy Inc.'s 60th Annual Circle of Lights, presented by IBEW Local 481 on Monument Circle the evening after Thanksgiving, November 25th from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy this free, time-honored tradition in downtown Indianapolis with enhanced lighting and video elements, outstanding live entertainment, a festive beer and whiskey garden, and Santa, of course. Go to downtownindy.org/holidays to learn more. Cheers and happy holidays.
BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate coming at you on Sunday with the Eagles in town. You got to make the game day experience the best it can be. DJ Skids, DJ Helicon, entertain. All you can eat, all you can drink inside the Bullseye Event Center. Log on. Make sure you have your passes right now and listen to win passes later on this week. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Your one blood donation can help save the lives of up to 3 people. Give blood through the American Red Cross to help hospital patients. Visit redcrossblood.org today.
Hey, it's JMV, and guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for just $155 a month, cash pay, or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of a home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Start a new career with a job that keeps your community safe. The Marion County Sheriff, Carrie Forrestal, is hiring detention deputies to work in the brand new Community Justice Center. You'll supervise and guard offenders, making Marion County a better place to live. Starting pay begins at around $40,000 a year with a $5,000 signing bonus. Enjoy great benefits like complete health coverage and pension plan. Start your career as a detention deputy and earn the respect of your community. Apply today at joinmcso.indy.gov.
Download the Dan Dockich podcast at 1075thefan.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. Brought to you by Affinity Whole Health, the leader in testosterone and hormone replacement therapy. Affinity Whole Health. FeelGreatIndy.com.
Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click. NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your devices from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Hey, temperature's cold. Make sure that you're warm and comfortable in your home, and your system, heating-wise, is working efficiently. John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air can help you out, give you that checkup, whatever you need to make sure you're comfortable in your home at 317-353-2141. The absolute best. Always go with the best. John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air, 317-353-2141 online, love-hvac.com today.
Need new tires? Skip the long appointments and bad coffee. With Go Mobile Tires Indy, order tires online and have them installed at your home or office. GoMobileIndy.com. We come to you.
The Colts host the first-place Philadelphia Eagles. Coverage Sunday morning at 9 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man. It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Well, thank you for joining us on this show today. You guys are fantastic. My man BT, I think BT got ball sacked here. There was a rumor from Eric Pincus, and I don't even know where Eric Pincus, he covers the NBA and he has for a long time, had a rumor regarding Myles Turner and interest from the Clippers. Well, Ballsack Sports took it to a different level, suggesting that the Clippers and the Pacers enter trade negotiations around Myles Turner for a future second-round pick. Ballsack Sports is a parody account or a humor account. hence ball sack sports. So I think my man BT may have been ball sacked on that, which is funny. Hey, JMV, it doesn't have to be so utterly hopeless or so binary. Myles is good. Maybe a trade helps, but maybe these same people called Smits a clown. I know exactly who called Smits a clown back in the day. It was everybody around here. Just some of these dudes were not here yet. Thank you, Naptown Seth. Yeah, so Monrovia's got to go to Lawrenceburg. I guess I understand, the drive and the time, but man, once you get to that point, aren't you a little too juiced to really worry about it? I guess that's going to be dependent upon how you play and what you end up blaming on the way that you played. Seems like, man, that would be a hell of a juice bus ride. You're in the Semi-State. I agree with what Greg said regarding that. Stephen Holder, ESPN.com. Ben Brown, PFF. We're going to go over the numbers. How much better were they under Parks Frazier calling the plays on Sunday in Vegas? Your calls, Ben Brown, next.
It's Kevin and Query.
Paris Campbell joins us. What have you thought about the tone Jeff Saturday has brought?
I've absolutely 100% loved it. Just the way that he holds each and every player accountable, no matter if you're the top of the roster or you're the bottom of the roster. Like, everyone has a job to do. One thing that I appreciated about Jeff is, like, he just being himself, man. Like, he's not trying to be someone he's not. You can see that fiery player that he used to be. You can see that just kind of coming back out.
Kevin and Query.
Weekday mornings at 7
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, everybody, we've all heard stories from friends and family about something really bad that happened. You're in an accident, there's a painful, life-altering injury, huge medical bills, even wrongful death, all from someone else's fault. In fact, some of you may be dealing with that right now, and that's where the attorneys at Paul Ritchie Law Firm can help. Tony Patterson, Paul Cruz, and John McLaughlin lead a team with over 70 years of collective courtroom experience and millions of dollars in jury awards and settlements for their clients. Now, none of us can change the past. Just know that Tony, Paul, and John are on your side to help you and your family moving forward. They're recognized by super lawyers and U.S. News and World Report as being among the leading injury lawyers in Indiana, so even if you're unsure you have a case, give Paul Ritchie a call. They'll listen and give you their free experience legal opinion. Call 317-269-2509 or visit parinjury.com. That's P-A-R-R injury.com.
One of the best things that's happened in Indy over the past year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. I'm Kevin Bowen, and frankly, this might sound a little soft, but back to the old rocking life with baby Max has me feeling some back pain that I have not felt in a while. Well, QC Kinetics can give you relief every day to folks with chronic joint pain using the latest advances in regenerative medicine. The results can be mind-blowing, and these regenerative treatments are designed to repair and restore your damaged joint tissue with no drugs, no surgery, no side effects, no steroids, and no downtime. The success rate is incredible, and they're going fast. They've got clinics in Eagle Creek and Greenwood, and more are on the way. So don't continue to live with that nagging joint pain. Discover the exciting, all-natural, advanced options that we now have access to thanks to QC Kinetics. Call them today for a free consultation. That is 317-559-PAIN. Again, locations in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. 317-559-PAIN.
Hey, just in time for the holiday season, thank you, Forum Credit Union. How about and you're going to love this too, the unlimited cashback credit card from Forum Credit Union. No more redeeming points or capped rewards. Forum's card pays you unlimited cash for every purchase every month automatically. Plus, make secure mobile payments, contactless purchases, and get real-time spending alerts so you can stay on top of your expenses. It's the perfect card for those everyday items and monthly subscription fees, too. Visit forumcu.com to see more about that and to sign up today.
Hey, Indianapolis, I'm Scott McCauley, the voice of the Marian University football team. The NAIA playoffs begin this Saturday, and the 7th-ranked Marian Knights are at home hosting their longtime rival, the 11th-ranked St. Xavier Cougars. The NAIA FCS first round begins Saturday at 1:05 p.m. at St. Vincent Field. Ticket prices start at $15. For more information, visit MUKnights.com.
Jamie's log. Progressive. The Harrington's backyard. Day 27, 3:33 a.m. 333. All those threes mean something. Or I may be losing it. Been camped in the Harrington's backyard for 27 days now, proving that Progressive has 24/7 protection. They told me every day they understand what 24/7 protection means. Think I'm finally getting through to them. 333.
Progressive doesn't just offer a great price when you bundle home and auto. We offer round-the-clock protection, just not literally from Jamie. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Hey, this holiday season, Diamonds Direct, they have you covered. The best selection you're going to find. Great deals going on if you want to make that home run gift-giving idea. One place and one place only to go. That's Diamonds Direct at Keystone to Crossing. And if you're thinking about taking this holiday season, that relationship to the next level, the engagement rings are robust. They are awesome, and you will love the pricing of it all. Really, one-stop shopping. It's hassle-free this holiday season for that great gift-giving idea from one place. It's Diamonds Direct. Store hours and more for this holiday season online at diamondsdirect.com. That's Diamonds Direct, Keystone at the Crossing. It's the Colts VIP Tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Make your game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your tickets now. It's bullseyeeventgroup.com.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX Indianapolis.
The Pacers head to Charlotte to play the Hornets tomorrow evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Just an average guy with exceptional hair.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Inside the Lounge via YouTube Live. You guys get in there and talk. Tell me some things I don't know, loungers. You can watch, listen, participate Inside the Lounge via YouTube Live every single day, whether we're in studio or on the road. The Bulldog coming up on Thursday. The Bulldog in Broad Ripple. Who's in for that? That's a Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots Thursday. The Bulldog on Thursday. We'll look for you. Me and Brent Halverson and you guys in a party. I believe Butler plays later on that evening, too. Oh, Butler last night. I do not want to talk about the three-point shooting or lack thereof of the Dogs last night. Man, that was a winnable game. I will tell you this. I will tell you that my belief in Butler getting better under Thad Matta, that is something I can buy. Shooting the basketball was not their forte last night. And don't believe any trade rumors that you read via social media from Ballsack Sports, okay? I don't even know why I got to tell you this. Ballsack Sports. If it was real, they wouldn't call themselves Ballsack Sports. That is pretty funny, though. Brandon writes this. Evansville Mater Dei traveled to Linton in the sectional last year. Triton Central in the regional. Cecina played at Beech Grove in the semi-state. Then obviously Lucas Oil after that. That's a lot of miles. Man, that'd be fun, though. I don't know. I guess I view that differently. I'd be juiced about that. Yeah, you're right. Edgerrin James, the Hall of Famer, joins us on the show coming up tomorrow. He was in Vegas and celebrating the first win for Jeff Saturday. This past Sunday, Edgerrin James joins us coming up tomorrow, 4:15. Can't wait for it. Edgerrin James, the Hall of Famer, former Colts running back, coming up tomorrow. Ben Brown, the data scientist from PFF, is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So how are the numbers, especially offensively, in what was the first Sunday of Jeff Saturday taking over as the head coach, and Parks Frazier, the first-time play caller from the Colts?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad, right? I think you got kind of what you needed to get.
Wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. You got to sell it a little bit more. Wasn't bad.
So we had their pass protection with an 11.8% pressure rate. Which
what the hell does that mean?
That's the second lowest. I would say they only had four. There was 4 defensive pass rush snaps where they applied pressure to Matt Ryan on Sunday, which is the lowest volume amount that the Colts have faced this year, but it was the second lowest pressure amount outside of the Texans in Week 1. So I think the recipe is, you can keep Matt Ryan clean. If you can do that with Jeff Saturday at coach, they could still be, maybe not quite the team we expected them to be in the preseason, but they can at least, I would say, get back into maybe a little bit of the thick of it in the AFC playoff race at least.
Oh, that's what you're thinking? You're going to hang that carrot out there for the Colts fans, are you, Ben Brown?
I was trying to be optimistic. So I thought you were gonna, rail me a little bit here after I was offended or hurt from what Jim Irsay and Jeff Saturday said, about analytics in general and their approach specifically last week. So I was expecting you to kind of rub it in my face a little bit here. So I was, at least trying to get ahead a little bit and score some initial points.
Well, here's the thing: that nobody is really running away with anything here. And that's what I mentioned. I wonder if fans out there like the type of season that we have going right now where there's, not a level of elite team. You can be good on a given night, or like Philly last night, you can have it all fall in on you on Monday Night Football and have your first loss of the season. You think fans like it better that way, or like it when there's that elite level presence where most nights they're going to go in there and be the better team?
I think they like the parity, and I think we're definitely getting that. This season specifically, I think obviously some injuries will play a role in that, but I think the fact that any single week, basically I would say roughly 28 to 29 to 30 of the teams I would say in the NFL can lose to another one in that grouping. I think that is. I would say makes for the most exciting brand of football that we can possibly get from my perspective.
It's Ben Brown of PFF on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So I have railed all season long that this Colts team offensively is only going to be as good as their offensive line, to which level they play. And consistently, I don't know if it was their best game, but it sure as hell to me, eyeball-wise, without the analytics, looked like their best game from start to finish. How much of a role did that play? How did they rank offensive line-wise coming out of Sunday?
Yeah, this was far and away their best game of the 2022 season. Like I said, the pressure rate, which I think is kind of the core stat from a pass-blocking perspective, was basically the best they've seen this year from a PFF grading standpoint. Pretty much by far the best game that they've played from a pass blocking perspective. And I think that, all the way on through, it looked like Matt Ryan was, kind of capable of making some of these plays if he didn't have, defenders in his face, defenders all over him early on in the season. And I think we kind of, finally started to see at least, a little bit of a glimmer of a hope from that perspective. And I think that, like you said, it starts with the offensive line. And if they can keep pressure away from Matt Ryan for long enough, they maybe have enough talent, I would say, at the wide receiver and running back position to at least still have an effective offense.
You have individual numbers, like for the rookie Bernhard Raimann and others along that offensive line? You got any individual numbers on how they played?
We have individual numbers, yep. So I can pull that up.
You want me to stall for you? You want me to stall for you really quick? How long will it take you? I can stall.
So Bernhard Raimann actually had a really good game on Sunday from a pass blocking perspective. I think he was an 81.7 pass blocking grade. That would be very much in like the top 15th percentile, 4 tackles here in week 10. So he was, I would say, all that and a little bit more for what they finally needed from him. And I think that's kind of the spot that flashed a little bit. Quentin Nelson, I think, had his best game so far this season as well, outside of maybe his game in week 7 against the Tennessee Titans. But yeah, they got the performances they needed from the offensive line. And I think if they can, string together some of these, they can, maybe start to, I would say, make some ground in order to at least get back in the conversation, right? And I think that's kind of what you have to buy into, going to Jeff Saturday is if he can fix the offensive line, can this offense be productive? And I think that we at least saw that answered quite resoundingly on Sunday here. And I think the one down spot, Will Fry, is basically really poor pass blocking grade. I think he had 3 of the 4 pressures allowed from PFF's perspective, but everyone else was I would say really clean and graded really well last week.
Ben, inside the lounge via YouTube Live, where we have a group assembled, talking back and forth, and then looking at my handsome chiseled features and listening as well. We have Lucas McIntosh that wanted to know, is PFF hiring? Are you guys hiring right now? Do you know?
I mean, it really depends on what you want to do.
How big of a nerd do you have to be to get hired there? You got to be a big nerd.
I mean, you still talk to me, right? But we honestly have a number of jobs. I would say there's a number of jobs outside of what I do. If you love watching football and you want to do some charting and grading, that's the entry level stuff. But we have HR, we have finance people that are behind the scenes, we have programmers behind the scenes. So we typically hire in the off season in March, unless it's a pretty pressing need. But yeah, if anyone's interested and wants to hit me up in my DMs on Twitter or something, I can definitely pass them along to the right area.
Look at you right there.
Friends of yours, they're friends of mine, right? So.
No doubt. You look at you. Look at you doing the listeners and the friends of this show a solid right there. You are a good man, Ben Brown.
You are you're my favorite, so I have to. If I'm going to look out for anybody, it's going to be you and your friends. That's for sure.
People are going to say, "Man, this is such BS." There's no way that he's the favorite of him right here. So, Ben Brown, the PFF data scientist on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Now you're going to get a bunch of Indy area resumes coming at you. So be ready.
Right. That's good. That's not. I mean, it's not too far away from Cincinnati, if I remember correctly. So it's. I would say it's a reasonable time frame for sure. But yeah, we'll make it happen. I mean, I'm always interested in we very much need, I would say quality people. And I think that, you only associate yourself with the best. So I think that already puts them on third base, in my opinion.
That is so true, man, Ben. I appreciate you on that. All right, I want to move on. Matt Ryan, who was the starter going away from Sam Ehlinger because that was the Jeff Saturday choice when it was found that Matt Ryan was good to go on Sunday and able to play. What did his numbers look like across the board?
I mean, it was, I would say, respectable, right? I don't think it was, a resounding performance from any stretch of the imagination. We had it with his, third best passing grade that he's had so far. I think if you look at it, from a pure volume perspective, like he was pretty good in that Week 6 match against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's his highest graded performance of the season. Pretty good, I would say. As well in that Titans game in Week 4, and then it was this one, right? And a big part of it, I think, was kind of the only took one sack, which he had only done that one other time so far this season in that Jacksonville Jaguars game. In Week 6, was kind of, I would say, limited the turnover-worthy plays. Didn't have a single ball that we would consider like at risk of getting turnover as well. So I think that, playing a little bit, from ahead and everything obviously is going to help. But I think this is kind of, what the expectation was for Matt Ryan. And I think now he, kind of finally delivered a little bit of, I would say somewhat of a baseline performance from that perspective.
All right, Ben, I'm going to stall really quick so you can look up those Eagles numbers from last night defensively against the run specifically, because the Commanders did a lot of running and clock consuming of the football last night on Monday Night Football. Ben Brown, who's the data scientist for Pro Football Focus every Tuesday right here on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So next up is the home debut for Jeff Saturday as the interim head coach of the Colts, and the former unbeaten Eagles are in town. The Eagles didn't look very good last night, really, on either side of the football, at least not how they looked so far this year. Defensively, the rationale behind Washington running the ball and eating up that clock as much as they did last night. Why?
I honestly don't know if it was. I don't want to say that they were overly successful from Washington's perspective in running the football.
Right.
I think where they kind of won the game, especially in the first half, was some high leverage third and medium to third and long situations where Taylor Heineke kind of made a little bit of magic happen in the passing game. So I think that that allowed them to at least get up a little bit, and then the question I think from the Eagles' perspective was is can they win a game coming from behind, right? And I think that that's where they're going to be really struggle. They're not going to be successful because their dominance so much is in the trenches, right? And they have, the best offensive line in football, right? Best run blocking, basically the best pass blocking. And they can kind of establish their territory, and they can go in and they can beat teams up. And then when they're up at the end of the game, they can kind of run the clock out. But if they get down early, because, Washington hit, I would say, a few big plays in the passing game. Their defense is, their run defense specifically is kind of the one spot that could maybe be looked at as a little bit of a negative. And if that happens, and they need to stop the run and they can't, that's when they're going to lose a lot of football games, and they're probably not as good as we thought they were. So I think it was more, Taylor Heineke, I would say running above expectation in third down situations in the first half. And then once they were up, the Eagles and where they're strongest at kind of didn't matter for the second half of the game. Right. And then the fumbles and everything else kind of played a role in that as well. But I think overall, if the Colts have this idea that they want to go in and establish the run and think they're going to be successful, I think that they, might need, I would say, to pivot on that if they actually want to, emerge victorious in this matchup. We're going to need to see something from, Michael Pittman and Matt Ryan downfield. We're going to need to see something from Alec Pierce. And I think that's got to be the expectation here coming in on Sunday. Because I think if you try and go up against the Eagles and you play smash mouth football, I think they're a team that's going to punch you back pretty hard, in my opinion.
Yeah. Ben Brown is with us, too. You look at the Colts and what you're talking about there, too. You look at them on defense, and their defense certainly has been playing well recently. Where are they ranking right now defensively across the board in some of those crucial numbers, according to PFF?
Yep. So we have them. I had it up here, of course. Now I'm just clicking through like a madman. But we have them, I would say, 7th from a run defense perspective. And like you said, that's kind of, owning the trenches, and that's where they've been really good. When you look at, team, EPA allowed from a rushing perspective, the Colts are the best unit in the NFL right now, right? They rank, first in EPA allowed per rush attempt so far this season. So they are winning there, but they also, I think, I would say, have kind of struggled. I think they're basically like league average from a coverage perspective. But in saying that, I think, and we saw this kind of flash a little bit, on Sunday with, Devontae Adams getting a high volume of targets. But when they needed a crucial play, they had Stephon Gilmore on him, and he was kind of able to make that play. So I do think they have, a legitimate, still, even if he is on the older side, a legitimate shutdown cornerback. And I think that, not many other teams have that. So we have them, the 12th best overall coverage unit grade. But, when you have a guy like Stephon Gilmore limiting, the opposing team's number one option in the passing game, it definitely makes things more difficult overall, even if you are kind of ranking, league average as the rest of the unit from my perspective.
Ben, if you look back, and this includes those 2 games against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and then on the road on that Thursday night downer where they won at Denver, and Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts, the similar philosophy defensively would stand here, and the Colts had success in both of those Chiefs-Broncos games, respectively, on the defensive side of the football, and they like to talk about keeping, guys like that, and in this case, Jalen Hurts, keeping him in the well. They have had success against guys like that defensively so far this year.
Yeah, they very much have, and I think we see that play out, both the run defense grades, the coverage grades, and everything else. But that's, for some reason, Colts kind of have the recipe, I would say, to, somewhat slow down, these highly thought of quarterbacks. And I think if you have, a situation where, you play Patrick Mahomes better than anybody else in the NFL, that's something that should not only give you confidence, but it should also be, kind of the recipe for success against a guy like Jalen Hurts, who, has been very good so far this season, but, is still very much not on the same level as a guy like Patrick Mahomes. So I think, once again, if you can get kind of the similar recipe, I don't think it necessarily needs to be, a muff punt fumble situation that forces you to get, or that allows you to kind of get up early against the Eagles. But if you can have success early on, offensively, if you get up, I think that, the Eagles should very much, I would say, be on upset alert given that game script, and probably be, in even a much worse situation than what the Chiefs found themselves, in that Week 3 matchup from my perspective.
Ben Brown of PFF's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Before I let you go, I use the term around here, sports arousal, for sports happenings that excite me or excite the fan base. So I'm assuming that your sports arousal is coming from the 7 straight in the win category by your Minnesota Vikings. What's going on with that? That is a team that the Colts are going to see later on this season. Is this something on both sides of the football that you have seen over these last 7 games that's sustainable for the rest of the year? Is this an absolute legitimate team at 8-1 in the NFC?
I might be, I'll use the term emotionally hedging here a little bit, but I don't think they are as complete of a team as where you're going to find them. I would say not only power ranked today, but, kind of where you're finding them from a national discourse. And I think that, part of that has been, Kirk Cousins is very much, I would say, reliant and benefiting from having the best receiver in football right now, right? And I think that you can see, even with a mid-tier quarterback, if you have the best receiver in football, you are still very much a dynamic offense, and it's very tough to get off the field with you, especially on third down, if that guy is getting a lot of targets, whether he's covered or not. So I think that, is the big reason, but I think the most concerning thing for me, in some ways, is that the Vikings have been very lucky from an injury perspective. I do think that's probably shifting a little bit, especially, this week with Christian Darrisaw, potentially questionable. Darius Smith as well has kind of been the one guy from a pressure perspective that has been consistent week in and week out. He's questionable as well. So if that tide kind of shifts a little bit, I don't think they're, very deep, I would say, defensively, especially in the secondary, kind of losing some young guys already. And I think that they've, kind of been fortunate. And we saw it, I would say, with both of Patrick Peterson's, interceptions last week. They've kind of been fortunate to be in the right spot at the right time. And I'm not sure that is going to, continue to carry forward week in and week out for our secondary that I think is, definitely on the older side. And if they lose, one guy for even a week or two, is very much going to be on to the, their third string cornerback or safety at that point in time. And from there, that's a team that I'm concerned with, especially if they are, in some ways struggling to get pressure consistently. So I don't think they are, I would say the best team in the NFL right now. I think with, the right situation and breaking correctly, could they get out of the NFC? Yes, I would definitely consider that a win. And I would be, enthused or probably in a state of delirium if they, were capable of facing off against the Bills or Chiefs team in the Super Bowl. But I think the path to get there is, still, I would say, a lot more difficult than what, Minnesota Vikings fans are currently acknowledging, I would say.
Once upon a time, there was some interest in, you mentioned Christian Darrisaw at left tackle a little bit earlier. There was some interest draft-wise in that player, I believe, coming out of Virginia Tech not too long ago, and he ends up going to the Vikings. Is he transforming into an elite level left tackle?
Yep. Yeah, that's
going to make everybody around here sick.
He very much has very quickly, like you said, Virginia Tech last year, 23rd overall pick for the Vikings. He is, both sides of the equation, right? I think from a pass blocking perspective, he's like the third best tackle so far this season. From the run blocking perspective, he's very much, I would say, in the conversation for being, the best left tackle in football from a run blocking perspective. And, arriving early, he has been, I would say every bit as good as advertised here for sure, which is, great to see. And I would say much, much needed for this offense. So I appreciate the Colts not ending up with him.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not one Chris Ballard may tag to the resume.
Right. Because I'm trying to remember where the Colts were actually in that.
That's the Kwity Paye. That's the Kwity Paye draft. They went at 21 overall.
Right.
With Kwity Paye, and maybe I'm wrong about this. I thought that maybe their feeling was, and I guess their feelings, Chris Ballard's feelings, that I think they thought maybe Darrisaw had some, what was it, behavioral issues? Am I wrong about that? I think there were some so-called red flags that I'm sure nobody's really a damn bit worried about right now. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was him. I know there was a guy from LSU that they drafted along the offensive line who definitely had some, character concerns. But I'll have to go back and look at that. I'm not quite sure what the reason was for why Darrisaw, if he even did slip at all, or if it was just, a spot where he was just a little bit lower than, some of the other assumed first-round talent at that point.
Hey, at least
I'll look into that.
At least they didn't get Alex Leatherwood, I guess, and at least that you come off a weekend in which the rookie Bernhard Raimann actually played well. So again, you want to say against the Raiders, which is fair, unfair, whatever, but he did play well. But that's one that we'll be staring at, I think, for the foreseeable future. That particular pick.
Track that. We can track that every week here. I can definitely. I'll keep you all abreast on the happenings of Christian Darrisaw. Hopefully he plays this week. 'Cause if he doesn't, I think we're in for a world of hurt against Micah Parsons of that Dallas Cowboys front four. That's for sure.
He may. So the second ranked left tackle in the NFL right now is Darrisaw, correct?
That is according to PFF grade, and I can get his overall offensive grade if you want to quote me on that. If you give me just a little bit of time, I can get his tackle.
That's all. We can do that. I don't want to make the fan base that sick around here. So yeah,
right, yeah.
we can do that.
I mean,
we can do that next week. It just occurred to me when you were talking about him and how he is fit at left tackle there and played well. It's certainly a consideration that could have been had around here. Okay, go ahead.
He is the highest graded offensive tackle in the NFL from both a pass blocking and run blocking perspective and PFF's grading perspective so far this season. So one spot lower than him, Andrew Thomas. 2 spots lower than him, Trent Williams, and then Tristan Wirfs. So I would say that's pretty good company, I would say, so far for Christian Darrisaw, which is good.
All right.
Things you love to see.
Harpoon Bakery inside the lounge via YouTube Live, and you trust anybody with info named Harpoon Bakery, says Christian Darrisaw allows less than 1 pressure per game.
Yeah. He's very much on that pace for sure. Yeah. He's been
wonderful.
I had it up here. He did multiple games. Yeah. I mean, imagine Matt Ryan behind an absolute mauler like Christian Darrisaw. We have him tracked for 13 allowed pressures so far this year, so a little bit over 1 per game, but that might include some penalty type plays. Yeah, he's at 10 per game when I filter out penalty plays, so he's at 1 per game. I don't think there's anybody else at the NFL tackle position which can claim that right now.
I think Eric Fisher had like 13 in 1 game last year. Just guessing.
Right.
Well, I know that Matthew Pryor did this year. So yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you more than you know. Even though you kind of end that on a dull note that's going to make everybody sick, we had to know. We got the win. That's all that matters right now. So we'll see where we end up next week. But I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Have a great show. You too, Ben. Thank you for dropping in. PFF data scientist on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. JMV, so the Colts fresh off their left tackle, retiring, and in a desperate need, passed up a top 5 tackle in a second year. It's a major ouch. I thought it was. Was it not red flags of behavior?
It was, yeah. But
that's what was said.
People love to do the DK Metcalf or Terry McLaurin. I think the Christian Darrisaw we'll look at as the worst decision to not, because it was either him or Kwity Paye, right, at the time?
Yeah, and it's your number 2 for this guy. You're number 2 for this guy, and that's where he's ranked.
It's the worst, option that Ballard took the wrong option of all his draft picks.
It's not good. He's definitely going to be staring at his watch or have his arms crossed. Hearing that, that's not good at all right there. Quick break, we'll come back. I've got time for some calls. If you guys want to work it in, let's do it at 239-1070. At the email address, which is jmv at 1075thefan.com. Inside the lounge via YouTube Live, look at Harpoon Bakery and Lucas McIntosh stepping up with the good info right there. Well done. Stephen Holder, top of the hour, ESPN.com. Me and you on the other side at 239-1070 next.
I love Jeff Saturday. I think people in this town love Jeff Saturday. I think Jeff Saturday probably can be a pretty good coach.
From the fan to the front line, here's Saturday on Sundays.
We have a number of really good coaches on this staff, and whatever I can do, whatever I'm asked to do, I'm going to tell you how it is. You're going to ask me a question, I'm going to tell you straight out. I know I can lead men.
From your home for the Colts.
I know the game of football, and I'm passionate about it.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, Johnny, for the Low T Center. Yes, the Low T Center. Expertise on dudes and their level of testosterone. Got that down in capital letters. But you want a place and you want people that concentrate on everything. And I mean all of your dude wellness numbers right here. That's the greatness of the Low T Center. Affordable and convenient options for treatment, including monitored self-inject treatment that ships directly to you every month. It is absolutely fantastic, but it's not just about your level of testosterone. It's also about all your numbers, all of them. So schedule your annual health assessment at the Low T Center today. It's covered by most health insurance, or it's less than $100 cash pay. That's lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. lowtcenter.com. That's the Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Okay, smile naturally. Perfect.
Cam's Photography knows wedding season ramps up in a flash. They need to say I do to a studio assistant before clients go full bridezilla.
I'm so sorry. I have to get a different lens. I'll be right back.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This holiday, give the people you treasure something they'll treasure, a gift from Shane Company. Our unique jewelry makes a spectacular gift. I'm Tom Shane. One of my favorites is an elegant necklace featuring a colorful east-west gemstone with diamond accents for $250. We offer it in 4 different gemstones, so you can select a color she loves. Choose red garnet, purple amethyst, sky blue topaz, or yellow citrine. Another favorite are diamond huggy earrings for $1,145. I picked these hoops because they fit close to the ear and are great for any occasion. Select either white gold, yellow gold, or rose gold. Our link necklace at $525 is a favorite because the diamond accents give the gold a touch of sparkle. Visit us for more gifts at a great value. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
I want to make sure you have the absolute best in plumbing that has your back, no matter what. So let's just say, for example, you want to move a washer or a water outlet from one side of your basement to the other. That's just an example of what they can do. They can do anything plumbing. You can count on them locally. Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. 317. You got 3... LDSmithPlumbing.com today. 927-7186 is the number. Plus, I was thinking about this, and it kind of got me off track a little bit. That is the most important asset that Lance and his local team brings. That is the emergency situations that you have. That's why you keep this number handy, 317-927-7186 today. The best in local plumbing for anything plumbing and emergencies. That's LD Smith Plumbing online, LDSmithPlumbing.com today.
Join us on Monument Circle for Downtown Indy Inc.'s 60th Annual Circle of Lights, presented by IBEW Local 481 on Monument Circle the evening after Thanksgiving, November 25th from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy this free time-honored tradition in downtown Indianapolis with enhanced lighting and video elements, outstanding live entertainment, a festive beer and whiskey garden, and Santa, of course. Go to downtownindy.org/holidays to learn more. Cheers and happy holidays. Download the Dan Dakich podcast at 1075thefan.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. Brought to you by Affinity Whole Health, the leader in testosterone and hormone replacement therapy. Affinity Whole Health. FeelGreatIndy.com.
It's time to move our feet so others can eat. At the 20th anniversary of the Wheeler Mission Drumstick Dash, presented by Huntington Bank this Thanksgiving morning in Broad Ripple. There's something for the whole family at this incredible Indiana holiday tradition, including a 4.5 or 2.75 mile course, free Little Gobblers run for the kids, and a virtual option. Register to run or walk today at drumstickdash.org. Drumstickdash.org. Move your feet so others can eat this Thanksgiving morning at the Wheeler Mission Drumstick Dash.
The best in realty, it's my friend Mark Dito. Mark Dito Realty, 317-755-4232. Anybody out there contemplating maybe putting your home on the market? See what the value might be. See if you can get what you want out of it. Maybe there are real reasons behind it family-wise. Maybe you're downsizing, or maybe you need a little bit more property. Whatever the case, I will introduce you to the absolute best and Mark Dietel, who will help you out. In fact, what he does is guarantee multiple offers in 3 days for full market value, or he's going to list it for free. So go with the best. If you need some info from me, you need a little helper from me, that's great. But I'm going to send you to the best. That's Mark Dietel, Mark Dietel Realty, 317-755-4232. That's online, markdietel.com, markdietel.com today.
Need new tires? Skip the long appointments and bad coffee. With Go Mobile Tires Indy, order tires online and have them installed at your home or office. GoMobileIndy.com. We come to you.
Put on your helmet. It's about to get real.
Sean Salisbury. I don't know if Jeff's going to be successful. I know he's 1-0. So what it says about the coaching profession, Josh McDaniels, the fair-haired great as a coordinator, he didn't win much in Denver, and he hasn't won much with the Raiders. Should we now all of a sudden say, what an indictment that we got guys who are getting multiple chances and don't know how to win? Maybe Jeff Saturday will be doing it more because he's good at it.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of damn nerds.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
This date in music history debuted an album that I think everybody my age had. If you're a member of Generation X, you probably had the debut album of the Beastie Boys, Licensed to Ill. I think everybody my age, near my age, had that back in the day. This date, 1986, Licensed to Ill, from Paul Revere to Slow and Low, Girls, Fight for Your Right to Party, No Sleep to Brooklyn, Brass Monkey, one of the great albums, and certainly one of the high-volume Generation X purchased albums of all time right there. Well, JMV Takeover action coming up on Saturday night for that, too. What a great album. Every party you went to. Now, granted, where I'm from, being from southwestern Indiana, every party that I attended, it started with somebody playing out of their tape deck in their truck the greatest hits of the Steve Miller Band. But at some point, we would transition over. There'd be a bonfire, somebody's truck, and the Steve Miller Band playing. But we would transition over to the Beastie Boys. This thing was played all the time. Seemingly everybody had it. Everybody. MCA, I think, has been gone now for how many years? 2012? This is when MCA passed away. MCA, actually, on the day he passed away, I'm trying to think. I remember being on here. They're actually talking about it. Great group, great album from back in the day right there. This date in 1986. Hey, JMV, you guys act like Quiddy is some bum. He's the Colts' best pass rusher from the edge, and if not for an unfortunate ankle injury, would have put up way better numbers this year. This is nowhere near DK in Paris. I'm not so much making the comparison on the wide receivers. I'm just suggesting if you wanted to solidify and set in stone right now a left tackle, Darrisaw has done that for Minnesota. And that is a major reason why their offense is humming, a major reason why they're 8-1. That is something you look back, because, again, left tackle is an ultra-essential position. That is fair to look at. That is fair. James at 239-1070. Jump on the show. How are you?
I'm doing great, JMV. How you doing?
Could not be better. I appreciate you asking. What do you got?
Well, first off, how did you enjoy that bottle of Buffalo Trace waiting on you?
My man, you know, I'm gonna. I appreciate what you sent right there. I saw it. Well, no, actually, somebody brought it to me. I think it was Cam that brought it to me because I wasn't in here those days. But
yes, yeah,
but
you've
James,
got the best job in the world. You get to travel along and drink up and be at every bar in town. Yeah,
I
you've
love
got
that,
the best
James.
job in the world.
It is a hell of a gig. There's no doubt about that. But thank you, James. That's Liquor Man James right there, who set me up. Thank you very much.
So, was Ryan running for his job, or was he running just to gain yards? on that 39-yard scramble.
I think that he had a pasture of space to run in, and then I think it was almost like the Raiders were surprised that he was being fleet of foot at that moment. So no, he got that 39-yarder. That scamper was legit.
I expected him to step out, but he kept going, and the way we finished the game, fantastic. I couldn't complain, except Michael Pittman hang on to the damn ball.
You got to do that. Even if he did go back and get it, and I have no idea how he got back there in time to get it and made up for that mistake. But yes, you have to hang on to the football without question, James.
Absolutely. JMV, I love you guys.
Liquor Man, thank you very much for bringing thank you for bringing that show up at a show sometime too. Liquor Man James. I do have a good gig. I get to go out, hang out like Lebanon yesterday. What a great crowd up in Boone County. What a great crowd. Buffalo Wild Wings. I think next up is Zionsville. And then maybe the Fishers location after that. And then it's really going to get interesting because we're going to go to Franklin, that Buffalo Wild Wings, on a Monday coming up. We're going to go to Greenfield at their Buffalo Wild Wings before the end of the season. Shelbyville and Columbus. I think Columbus is the final one of the season. Yeah, I love it. The Bulldog coming up on Thursday. Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Week 11 picks with me and Brent Alverson. Hope to see you there. Adam, line 2 at 239-1070. Adam, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, JMV?
Could not be any better. Thank you for asking. What's up?
Man, I just want to give a shout-out to the offense. They look great. Defense looks superb like always this year. Coach Saturday, big shout-out to him. And Parks Frazier.
Parks Frazier was my MVP. I gave him the Most Valuable Player Award. The Sports Arousal Most Valuable Player Award goes to Parks Frazier.
Exactly. And I know for sure this house is going to be rocking Sunday.
It should be fun. I wonder how many former Colts, if any, I would guess, end up showing up here on Sunday. I wonder.
Probably a handful.
I wonder.
And it's a big day.
Yeah.
And it's a big day because it's salute to service as well, and I'm an Army veteran, so I'll definitely be there.
Thank you, my friend, for your service. I'll tell you what, for that, are you going to the game?
I am. I'm going to be, I'll be on the field to hold the American flag.
All right, well, here's what you're going to do. You're going to party with us beforehand. Hey, I'm going to put him on hold here, Kyle. Get his name. Adam, thank you for the call, and his number, his info, and we're going to send him to Bullseye. He's going to go to Bullseye with me. Thank you, Adam. BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Going to be a good party before that Eagles game on Sunday. Adam, I'm going to let you go there. Somebody's going to explain this to me, all right? And this is probably not a storyline that appeals to you at all. So what is this? Any of you nerds know with Twitter? So you have a blue check mark, right? But what is this now, this check mark circled official beneath it? So do I need to be official? Because I don't want to be official. I want to be uniquely unofficial. Is there a term there that I can use? Do I have to buy it? Do I need to buy the uniquely unofficial term? There's a check mark and a circle beneath some of these, and it says official. What if I don't want to be official? I've had enough of being official. Just be completely unofficial. Or in this case, uniquely unofficial. And do I need to pay to be official if I wanted to be? Mitch talking Michael Penix Jr. throwing it everywhere for the Washington Huskies this season. What you got, Mitch?
Hey, I just wondered if you were watching on Saturday night when he took down Oregon. It was phenomenal.
It is. Watching, I'm going to tell you, watching Washington's offense. And mostly I'm doing the JMV takeover at the time, but I always, if they're on, I have them on. They have one hell of an explosive, high-level offense to watch. It's great.
So why did he leave IU in the first place?
I just think he wanted to bail. I know he was struggling with injuries here, and then a guy that he worked with, I think here, I forget what year it was, a couple of years ago, ended up getting the job as the head coach, and he kind of followed him out there. Caleb DeBoer. Caleb DeBoer was I think he was at Fresno State, I think the year prior, and then made that transition to Washington. But, yeah, Michael Penix Jr. has had a fantastic season, much better than the seasons that we have seen here the past two with IU football, no doubt.
Right. Just wondered if you were watching. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I've been watching. They are fun to watch, and he can throw it a country mile. I don't know, though. Has he been injured at all, Kyle, this season, Michael Penix Jr.? I don't know if he's been...
No, he's been healthy.
Yeah. Do you know the question I had about Twitter, the official? Have you seen that? Well, I'll give you a great example. WTHR.com, you get a blue check mark, right? But then beneath it now, there's a check mark circle, and it says official. What's that?
I think that's just for, news organizations right now.
So I don't have to become official? Because I don't want to be official. I really have no interest in being official. How many wins does it take until we can say Parks Frazier is the Jonah Hill and Moneyball of football? Story, man, that's outstanding. Jonah Hill and Moneyball is good, though. Hey, Adam, if you're still listening, our good friend and former O-lineman for the Colts, Rick DeMoling, just sent me this. I just heard you gave that military guy tickets to the tailgate Sunday. We can come up with me, and you can hang out with DeMoling on Sunday, too, Adam. So make sure you find Rick DeMoling. He's easy to spot inside the Bullseye Event Center. And promise a good time. Let me take a break. Carl's going to lead coming up on the other side. Stephen Holder, top of the hour. Tuesday show with a lot of college hoop going on downtown at Gainbridge Fieldhouse tonight. Kentucky, Michigan State, Game 1. Kansas, Duke, Game 2. That's the Champions Classic. A lot of outer-staters in the market. If you are, shout out to you. Have a great time and spend a crap load of money here on this Tuesday evening. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
If your car is less than 10 years old, there's likely something hidden in your radio. Another way for you to listen to The Fan. Go to 93.1 and look for the HD radio button. Press it and you'll hear The Fan everywhere.
Helzberg Diamonds presents the holy grail of engagement rings. Michael was getting engaged and needed a ring, but not just any ring, the engagement ring. The kind that when he saw it, he'd just know. So Michael looked around online, asked friends for advice.
I want a ring that's special. One that's,
You gotta go to Helzberg.
Michael went to Helzberg Diamonds, where he found an incredible selection of beautiful rings, settings, and both lab-grown and natural diamonds, certified and guaranteed to be of the highest quality. He also met Sarah, a Helzberg Diamond expert, who helped him find that special ring he was looking for, so that when his fiancée opened the box...
Wow, it's...
Yep, sounds right to me. Be like Michael. Find the engagement ring of her dreams at a Helzberg store near you or online at Helzberg.com. And right now at Helzberg Diamonds, take advantage of special financing offers.
Keeping you warm and comfortable as the nights and days in this case. The months get colder. We're into it right now. You got to go with the best. That's John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air. JMV here for the best in your heating and staying comfortable and your system working officially in your home for these cold months that lie ahead. 317-353-2141. I'm telling you, the absolute best. Count on Love Heating and Air to get you where you need to be comfort-wise in your home. Get that check up today. 317-353-2141 online, love-hvac.com today.
Fall in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Hey, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
A story of first downs and second chances. Meet former pro football player Michael Robinson.
I wanted to keep playing, but my feet hurt.
And all those big league experts couldn't help?
You have access to anything, but none of it worked.
Finally, he got fitted with Good Feet arch supports.
Let me tell you something. They work.
Now, he recommends Good Feet to
anybody. If you move, go to the Good Feet store.
Sign up for your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Come in for a free fitting, no appointment needed. The Good Feet store, in the north, near Keystone at the Crossing or in Greenwood.
Hey, I mentioned this because Adam's going to go coming up on Sunday, but if you're not fortunate enough to win Bullseye Event Group, Colts VIP Tailgate, presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration, passes coming up for Sunday, yeah, make sure you at least get it and get in the building coming up on Sunday. All you can eat, all you can drink, and you're going to love the entertainment value. I mentioned my good friend Rick DeMullen's going to be a part of it. Always some former players in the house, too. Skids and Helicon with the entertainment. It's going to be a great time. It's how you know your game day experience is the best. With BullseyeEventGroup.com, make sure you lock in your passes right now for the Colts VIP Tailgate, presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Log on, get those passes now for Sunday. It's BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Tickets on sale now for Christmas Nights of Lights at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Purchase online early to reserve your time slot. Their new colorful field of lights is a must-see. Christmas Nights of Lights is open nightly, including all holidays, November 11th through January 1st. Purchase tickets at ChristmasNightsOfLights.com.
Indiana Physical Therapy is your trusted choice in Central Indiana. For over 30 years, we've treated all walks of life, from peewees to professionals and Olympians, and everyone in between. Schedule at any of our 21 convenient locations, even without a doctor's order. Indiana Physical Therapy is cost-effective, accepting all insurance plans and networks. We're open from 7 to 7 and can get you in the same day you call. Go to IndianaPT.com.
Indiana Physical Therapy, where people go to get better.
It's the Colts VIP Tailgate, presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Make your game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your tickets now. It's BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Visit 1075thefan.com for your chance to win the ultimate game day experience. To see the Indianapolis Colts take on the Pittsburgh Steelers November 28th from Four Winds Casino.
Tonight is a Champions Classic right here at Gainbridge, and we're going to talk to Seth Greenberg, who'll be on the broadcast tomorrow to recap it. 4 great teams and a great guest, Seth Greenberg, tomorrow.
The Ride with JMV.
If peeing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Gavitt games continue later on tonight. Marquette and Purdue. Tip times at 8:30 later on tonight. Marquette and Purdue last night. Last night, Butler loses on the road to Penn State. Gavitt games, again, continue later on tonight with Purdue in action versus Marquette. Downtown here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, I mentioned you got Kentucky-Michigan State game number 1, and you've got Kansas and Duke in game number 2. Recap that tomorrow. Edgerrin James, the Hall of Famer. Edgerrin James at the 4 o'clock hour is going to be on this show tomorrow as well, so you got to be ready to go in the 4 o'clock hour for that one. Edgerrin James is always awesome on this show. I'm just going to sit back and let him go, and everybody loves it. Edgerrin James tomorrow, DeForest Buckner Thursday. Carl at 239-1070 is next. Hello, Carl.
Hey, JMV. I have to say it's been a long, strange trip since that first game at the garage, hasn't it?
Truly has. No question.
If you had told me that we would be where we are now 9 weeks ago. I was like crazy.
Well, can you imagine, Carl? You and I were at the garage together over at Bottle Works, and we were going over what we thought about that game against Houston. That was the opener on the road.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about winning some money if we could have foretold what was going to go down in the first half of the season with the Colts. That would be amazing.
Indeed. Yeah. But I don't gamble, so that's okay. Anyway,
that's good.
I got 2 more things for you that I'm going to get off. I think the reason for the blue check circle verified thing is because I read recently that some people had some bots or somebody had set up a fake Lilly account that said that insulin was free and the stock just tanked. They lost millions of dollars in worth over that tweet. And then something else for you. You know all those Opoly games like IU-Opoly and Purdue-Opoly?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? When I was in Walmart today, I saw one from Greenwood-Opoly. But anyway.
Oh, wait. What'd you see Greenwood? What's Greenwood-Opoly have as a part of it?
Let's see. It was Craig Park, and then he had parking fines, Freedom Park. I didn't see the library, which kind of irked me. And there was like Greenwood High School and stuff like that. But I said to myself, "Wow, they're really don't take this the wrong way, Greenwood, but they really scraping the barrel on that one."
Hey, how about Bargersville-Opoly?
Hey, yeah, I'm sure they should have a taxman space there. I guess
a taxman. You get you get my place over there, a little Mallow Run on that thing too.
Go.
Yeah,
there you go.
I wonder where I live. Would I be like Baltic Avenue? You think, or I wonder what I would be?
You'd probably be Park Place, or what's the most expensive one on the board? I don't know.
I'd probably be Chance. I'd just be like the Chance, probably.
Yeah. All right, man. Great show,
Carl. Thank you very much. Good to hear from you. Seriously, you go back that week 1. Remember the lead up? We had the pregame show over in Bottle Works in the garage. Can you imagine? It has been strange. Hey, JMV, I'm an IU fan going to the Purdue game tonight. Any advice? I'm going to tell you what. I know you want to go to, Triple X and all that, and that's great. I'm saying this because the one in Avon apparently has had a line wrapped around the building for a while. Raising Cane's opened in Avon. Give me a picture if anybody's standing in that line over there, because I saw pictures earlier today and the line was a mile long. So maybe hit up Raising Cane's before you go to Mackey tonight. Now you'll have a blast there. Absolute blast, Rick. Enjoy that game. Yeah, there was a mile-long line out of Raising Cane's. Day number 1, it was the opener over in Avon. Incredible. Quick break. We'll come back. Stephen Holder of ESPN.com. Me and you inside the lounge via YouTube Live. Get there as well. Back with you next.
Jeff Saturday returns to the Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium without pads, without pass blocking, and without Peyton. He'll be armed with a headset, a used playbook, and Colts pride. Getting his first home win won't be easy because Nick Sirianni returns with his own headset. One of the best defenses in the league, and oh yeah, Jalen Hurts. JMV has the pregame Sunday at 9 a.m. Matt Taylor with a kickoff at 1 o'clock on your home for Colts football, 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Listen up. Racetrack Service is now a part of the Waste Management family,
which means immediate job opportunities for a variety of positions at multiple WM sites across the Indianapolis area.
WM is paying up to a $2,500 new hire bonus for CDL drivers, driver apprentices, and diesel mechanics. We're also hiring welders, laborers, helpers, truck washers and fuelers, and heavy equipment operators.
Plus operations specialists, environmental civil engineers, and additional professional and management positions.
Hiring events for all sites are Friday and Saturday, November 18th and 19th, 8 a.m. till 1 p.m. at 3702 West Minnesota Street in Indianapolis.
That's Friday and Saturday, November 18th and 19th, 8 till 1 at 3702 West Minnesota Street in Indianapolis.
Walk-ins welcome, but save time and pre-apply online at WM.com/careers. That's WM.com/careers. Search job opportunities in the Indianapolis area.
A people-first, military-friendly, equal opportunity employer.
We are WM.
Hey, fellas, the Low T Center is the absolute best for this reason, and there's no doubt. Elite level with making sure your testosterone level is where you want it to be. But they care about all of your numbers. The overall men's wellness is their job one. That's why you need to hit up the Low T Center today. Affordable and convenient. They have those options for you, including monitored self-inject. They send that each month to your door. So schedule your annual health assessment. Do it now at the Low T Center. It's covered by most health insurance, or it's less than $100 cash pay. This is essential, not just for your level of testosterone, which they're elite at doing, but it's for your overall men's wellness. Do it today. LowTCenter.com to book that appointment online. LowTCenter.com today. It's the Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
What QC Kinetics is doing for people here in Indy is nothing short of amazing. I'm Kevin Bowen, and unfortunately, we know the cold weather is here, and that means those aches and pains start to show themselves even more. Well, if you have joint pain, any joint pain, you need to call QC Kinetics. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics started with one clinic last year, but the demand has been so strong they now have clinics in Eagle Creek and in Greenwood. More are on the way. We're talking modern advances in regenerative medicine that allow the medical professionals to take the remarkable healing properties from your own body, concentrate them for maximum power, and put them directly into your aching joints so your damaged tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. If you have pain in your knees, hips, back, shoulder, don't let them tell you that steroids or surgery are your only options. Call QC Kinetics today. Again, 317-559-PAIN. That is QC Kinetics at 317-559-PAIN.
O'Reilly. See better and drive safer with Rain-X Advantage wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase a pair of Rain-X Advantage wiper blades and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If you, my friends, are looking for a new set of wheels, I want you to go with the best. Go with the hassle-free process, the great pricing, the service after the sale with my friend Eric Wilson at Indiana's Best. Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st and State Road 37 in Fishers. Hey, give an eyeball. Check out that elevation package on the Acadia, the GMC Acadia. That's outstanding. I mean, it is already loaded. Then you add that. It is sharp, and you will love it. Check it out today, the pricing, and talk to my man Eric Wilson about getting that new set of wheels on the way home with you in one-stop shopping. Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st and State Road 37 in Fishers.
Start a new career with a job that keeps your community safe. The Marion County Sheriff, Carrie Forrestal, is hiring detention deputies to work in the brand new Community Justice Center. You'll supervise and guard offenders, making Marion County a better place to live. Starting pay begins at around $40,000 a year with a $5,000 signing bonus. Enjoy great benefits like complete health coverage and pension plan. Start your career as a detention deputy and earn the respect of your community. Apply today at joinmcso.indy.gov.
It's time to move our feet so others can eat. At the 20th anniversary of the Wheeler Mission Drumstick Dash, presented by Huntington Bank this Thanksgiving morning in Broad Ripple. There's something for the whole family at this incredible Indiana holiday tradition, including a 4.5 or 2.75 mile course, free Little Gobblers run for the kids, and a virtual option. Register to run or walk today at drumstickdash.org. Drumstickdash.org. Move your feet so others can eat. This Thanksgiving morning at the Wheeler Mission Drumstick Dash.
Hey, it's JMV for the absolute best in plumbing. That's Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. 317-284-9526. Let's talk about 83 are free involving any drain in your home. Means LD Smith is going to come out, make sure your drains are clog free for $83, or the visit is free. That's 83 are free at 317-284-9526. The best in plumbing, Lance and his local team online, ldsmithplumbing.com.
Need new tires? Skip the long appointments and bad coffee. With Go Mobile Tires Indy, order tires online and have them installed at your home or office. GoMobileIndy.com. We come to you.
For your free system replacement analysis, give Family a call today at 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
Illinois travels to Michigan on American Standards College Football Saturday. The action begins at noon on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
It's called Sex Panther by Odeon. It's illegal in 9 countries.
It's quite pungent. It stings the nostrils.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, a shout out to our friends from the South, the Bluegrass State, for being in town. Kentucky, Michigan State in Game 1. Thought maybe this would be appropriate to play for our Kentucky fans that are in town listening. Crank this up really quick. From Lexington to Paducah, from Franklin to Louisville. Welcome, Kentucky fans. And buy a lot while you're here. Eat a ton while you're here. Kentucky, Michigan State, 7 o'clock, Duke and Kansas. If I were going to play a Michigan song, what, I have to do Eminem or something like that? Or Detroit Rock City by Kiss? Does Duke have a song? Kansas have a song? Ooh, Dust in the Wind by Kansas right there. Carry On My Wayward Son. Does Duke have a song? Think about that. John Shire and Norm Roberts. The coaching combination in Game 2, Duke and Kansas. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, that is the Champions Classic tonight. Ben Brown, PFF Data Scientist, Greg Rakestraw a little bit earlier, Edger and James on this show coming up in the 4 o'clock hour tomorrow. On the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline from ESPN.com, he is Stephen Holder. I guess nobody was really surprised about the news regarding Shaq Leonard today and the back surgery being done for the season. You know, hoping for a full 100% recovery and feeling good going into 2023. Honestly, though, how do you feel about this moving forward? You're a bit apprehensive to believe that he's ever going to be, when he got that contract, what people thought he was going to be?
Yeah, well, before we get into that serious conversation, I had a thought. I think Duke is probably orchestra. You know, they're a little highbrow over there, down in the triangle, I'm thinking. So, I don't know. And as you know, I'm a big bluegrass guy, so that was perfect.
Hey, by the way, too, I got an update from Raising Cane's that just opened its doors in Avon off of US 36 right now. Apparently, it's run out of something. Eric Twigg says I can't tell. I think it's run out of chicken. Is that good when you make your grand debut? Is it good if you run out of chicken, or is it bad if you run out of chicken?
I don't know, but I tell you what, I'm not. There aren't many places I'm standing in line for in 35-degree weather, and the kind of lines I saw online earlier. So I've actually never had Raising Cane.
That's pretty good, man. I've had it once. It is legit. Don't get me wrong, but I probably am not going to stand. I'm not going to wait 5 minutes for anything. So that's part of it. But yeah, apparently, according to Eric Twigg, they are all out of chicken over in Avon.
That's tragic. That is tragic. Man.
Here's your update on Raising Cane's grand opening in Avon there. Go ahead.
You're giving the people what they want. Anyway, on a serious note, obviously, Shaq Leonard. Look, I talked to him about this last week, and at the time I didn't realize what had happened in Wednesday's practice. But the impression I got from him was, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but the impression that I got was that, you know, even playing at all this year was really, it was a lot to ask, I guess is what I'm saying, right? Because of the delicate nature of this thing. And then he did play and he had a setback. I'm not saying anybody made a mistake. I mean, he was making progress and he had progressed to a point where he was cleared to play. So it's not as though someone was reckless or anything. I never got that impression. All I'm saying is that it's a pretty high bar to even get back this year. He did, but he had a setback when he did. I think at this point, they have to do the best thing for the long-term health of this guy. And he's just too great of a talent to rush this thing. And he may have learned a lesson here too, okay? Because he has really, really, really pushed this thing and wanted to get back. And I understand, you know, Frank Reich was the one making those calls at the time and the medical staff. And I understand the difficulty in telling Shaq Leonard no. Okay, I mean it's not fun. So they got to a point where they were comfortable finally letting him play. But I think in their perfect world, they might have let it linger a little longer. The other thing I would say is that their linebackers are playing well. I mean, Shaq playing is not going to be the difference between this season being really good or really poor in the last 7 games, even though he is a fantastic player. So I think at this point, it's not about 2022. And you asked me earlier, do I have concern? You should have concern, right? Yeah. I mean, this thing is, we're talking about, we're about a year in almost, so yeah, it's a problem.
Stephen Holder of ESPN.com is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I detect a little bit of a scratchy throat and a cold. Was that a hangover cold, or was that the flight to and from cold? What do we got here?
I mean, basically you're flying in a petri dish, 30,000 feet in the air. Good air though. You definitely picked that up. I've been in bed a lot of the day actually. I think I'm fighting the flu, but I'm getting there. My wife keeps bringing me concoctions. I don't know what the hell's in this tea, but she just told me just drink it. Don't ask any questions. And I'm like, if she wanted to kill me. Anyway.
Well, I'm not feeling great, but I don't have like a flu or a cold. I think I just ate something that was bad. And I had to make a choice. Was I going to lose it or eject it from the penthouse or the basement? And I went with the penthouse earlier, and I feel much better.
Hey, listen, you know your body better than anybody, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I love it.
There's something else that Shaquille Leonard has to learn. You got to know your body better than everybody else. And I will say this, that's what Jonathan Taylor was on the show in the preseason and talked about how he has been in tune and knows everything about his body, because when you reach this point, you have to take that in consideration.
I'm glad you brought up JT, because I was actually going to mention this. He, for the first time this year, really dealt with a lingering injury, that ankle. And one of the things he did was he took a very, I would say, conservative approach to dealing with it. I mean, there was that game, I want to say maybe the Washington game, I can't remember, but, we thought he was going to play. And the day before the game, they made him, they ruled him out of the game on the Saturday before the game. I was pretty surprised by that. But in talking to JT after the fact, it was pretty clear that he's the one that kind of led that charge to that decision, and he did it in his own best interest. He's also a guy who's trying to get a contract next year, so but I don't even think it was about money. I really think it was just he wasn't right, and he keeps having these setbacks, and so he made, I thought, the best decision for him. And look at him on Sunday; he looked the best I've seen him all year.
So Stephen Holder's with us. Does Jeff Saturday, given the chaos of last week and then how that unfolded into a win on Sunday, does he veer very far from what he did last week working into Sunday in that matchup? And I mean across the board, not just him, but in how he delegated authority to everybody and how everything was handled from top to bottom. Does he veer very far away from that for that game against the Eagles Sunday?
No, I don't think so. Look, we can criticize how this was handled, and I think there is a lot of room to do that, right? Just it was sloppy. I really thought it was sloppy, and I'm going to stand by that, right? However, I think Jeff Saturday did a phenomenal job of understanding the situation and not going in there and acting like he had all the answers, because that was not going to end well, right? And Jeff he's the guy we've always known him to be, who is, a guy who is genuine and a guy who cares about, other people and sort of, working in accordance with that. And he approached the week, in just the right way. And as a result of that, he got buy-in from the guys. I mean, you think about it. If you're on Frank Reich's staff, whatever you want to believe about Frank Reich is irrelevant. But you're on Frank Reich's staff. You've been on his staff for 4 years. He's gone. They bring somebody else from the outside to come in and coach you, and now he's your boss. You don't even know this guy. I mean, that's got all kinds of potential to be just a really awkward situation. Well, he knew that, and I give him a ton of credit for understanding it and telling everybody, look, you do what you do well. And they did. I got to give everybody involved credit for putting egos aside, because that's what could have made this really messy.
Have you allowed yourself at all to think about this? And these are a couple of what ifs, and they're not good what ifs. But let's just say Stephon Gilmore doesn't make that play against Devontae Adams. That ends differently. Or Michael Pittman Jr. can't double back and doesn't retrieve that fumbled football that he actually fumbled. How would we have described that game if the end result was not a Colts win?
Well, it's a great point. I believe I might have mentioned this in the story the last couple of days, one of the 18 I've written. But anyway, I really think winning that game was critical, not from the standpoint of their record. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in terms of him getting credibility with the guys, the staff, the players, everybody. Because it's hard to get credibility or gain credibility, build credibility when you lose, right? And sometimes it is as thin as whether Steph Gilmore makes that play or not, right? I mean, the line is very thin, but he did, and they won. And I think it's very easy, or it's easier now for Jeff Saturday to make the argument like, guys, just, let's just keep going. Just keep doing what we're doing. And, it's harder to make that argument when you lose. So, I don't think they would have gotten killed for losing. I don't think we expected them to win, frankly. But I thought they could win, but I didn't expect them to win. There's a lot to overcome. But I think that's the biggest takeaway, though. That's the biggest difference between the win and the loss is it giving Jeff Saturday credibility and making this an easier transition.
Is it fair to say that it made it a much easier decision, I would think, for Matt Ryan to be installed as the starting quarterback with those reps that he got at the end of the week? But you think that this is to think about? Jeff Saturday had this. Once he was hired and took over the reins of this gig, don't you think that that's exactly what he was thinking? This guy's ready. I'm going with this guy and not Ehlinger. And would have Frank Reich had been given a similar decision to make, or would it have been Ehlinger?
Oh, I can tell you without any hesitation that without influence from other parties, Frank Reich would have played Matt Ryan. That is a fact, 100%. And it was easier for those other parties or party, to say let's go with Sam. When Matt Ryan's got a shoulder injury, right? I mean, after that Patriots game. Let's say Frank Reich had been retained. I mean, this is very, very, very hypothetical, but say that Frank Reich had been retained. Could he have made a plea to the owner to say, "Look, I think we got to make a change here"? Maybe, but he did. They did kind of lay down the law and lay down the gauntlet there, saying the change was for the rest of the season. But I think with Jeff Saturday, look, if you're asking this guy to basically come in cold and come put himself in the crosshairs, take this job, because you're asking a lot if you're Jim Irsay of Jeff Saturday. If you're asking him to do that, then you got to give him what he wants, I think. And if part of what he wants is to play Matt Ryan, you got to do it. And that is my, interpretation, of what happened here. It's not I'm not giving you necessarily a black and white version of it, but that's the way I suspect it went.
So Stephen Holder of ESPN.com on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I think you tweeted about this. I talked about this. Others had a similar story regarding quarterbacks coach Scott Milanovich not being down because he was the guy that had been asked to do the play calling, but not being down. And reportedly, you can believe what you want to believe, I guess. It was, over a tearing up of the contract that he wanted more money and the Colts didn't want to do it. Whatever the case, did Scott Milanovich make a really bad decision last week?
That's a fair question. I think you can look at it both ways. I will say this. I actually did report that too. So that is what I was told as well, that he wanted an adjustment to his contract that did not happen, or that was declined. Now, I understand it on the one hand. Let me put it this way. All right, if any of us are in a situation like that in our everyday jobs, and we are asked, someone gets fired, we're asked to now take over someone else's job and take on tons of other responsibility and as well as, by the way, this is important, as well as the intense scrutiny that would come with it, right? Knowing that, by the way, when you're part of an interim staff, and this could change, but when you're part of an interim staff, almost always at the end of the year, you're out. Okay? So I think if you're Scott Milanovich, you got to be looking at it from that perspective, like, okay, what am I getting out of this? Potentially you're getting a bad hand. At the time, they were playing Sam Ehlinger. Okay? That's one. You have a situation where you've lost your head coach, who is your friend, and would look out for you. So you don't have any cover that way. And then if it goes poorly, it's going to be on you, right? Or it's going to reflect poorly on you, at least on some level. So I kind of understand it in some respect. And Milanovich has been through this before. If I recall correctly, he was the interim play caller in Jacksonville some years ago, I think for the last 6 or 7 games. So, I think he's been through it before, and he made this decision, presumably, through that prism of experience in doing this once before.
I just can't get away from this. And this works in your profession, and it absolutely is something that you're taught early in my profession. When people come in here as interns and they say, what's the most important thing I should do? I said, you should be available, and you accept gigs, you accept jobs. I would assume in this case, even though we're talking about the NFL and a coaching staff, this might be a similar situation, because who knows where this is going to go with Parks Frazier. But there are a lot of accolades for a job well done, which he did this past Sunday. And the guy just took on a load that another guy reportedly wouldn't. And I just always thought if you're in that situation, you got to take it. You got to take it and do the job that you were asked to do, or at least afforded the opportunity to do. And I didn't think that was a good look by him, if, again, that's altogether accurate.
Yeah, I mean, that is a totally fair representation of things too. I mean, I think both positions are defensible, right? I mean, there's merit to both, what I outlined and what you outlined. I don't know what I would do. It's a tough thing, but I do agree with you that had he taken it on and done well, it could have set him up for whatever his next opportunity is, whether he's here next year or not. The question is, if it doesn't go well, is the negative impact of that performance, does that outweigh having the play calling duties on your resume? And I can't answer that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I would agree. I'd agree too. I mean, you can look at it as Parks Frazier had nothing to lose. Maybe Milanovich felt that he did have something to lose, but man.
Yeah, I mean, they're in different places in their careers, right? Much different places.
And if it's about money too, I mean, yeah.
I really think the money part, I'll just say this. This is my interpretation of it, right? I mean, I didn't talk to the guy, but my interpretation of it is the money part is more so about it's almost like CYA, right? Because you're thinking, okay, what is likely to happen here? What's likely to happen is you're out, okay? Because that's what happens to interim staffs. They get blown out at the end of the year. I have no idea where this is going. Nobody does. But, you play the odds, right? And the odds are your butt is going to be out of a job in a few weeks. So I think it's about trying to leverage the situation. Like, hey, you want me to save you? Well, do something for me. Throw me a bone, right? And I think that would be the way I interpret it. Now, I'm not saying that's the way that's the best way to handle it, but I think that's what happened.
It's Stephen Holder of ESPN.com. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You, like me, believe that in some capacity, whether it's the head coach or decision-making power, whatever, Jeff Saturday is going to have a gig regardless, again, of what happens the remainder of the season with the Colts?
Sorry, the phone cut out. He's going to have
a gig regardless, either coaching or player personnel decision-making of some sort, organizational or coaching-wise. Yeah. Jeff Saturday is going to have a gig regardless of what happens.
Well, look, what do we know right now? We know that this guy has the full attention of Jim Irsay, okay? The full attention of Jim Irsay. He essentially decided to fire Frank Reich based upon Jeff Saturday's availability and willingness to take this job. I don't think you need to say any more. Now, I mean, I think that's a little crazy, but whatever. But it makes the point, and the point is this: it tells you that Jim Irsay thinks a lot of him, right? So I agree with you. I think that's probably likely. It's probably Jeff may decide this isn't for him too. That's another possibility. We'll see what happens.
That'd be bad stuff would have to happen between now and then. I think he looks like he enjoyed it. It almost looked like that he soaked up the week that was so chaotic, and it's not like nice things were being lobbed around about he and this franchise over that 4 or 5 day period.
He's built for it, and I'll give him credit for that. Like, he's built for it, like he is not fazed. He talked about this the other day. He said, his family was probably out there, reading the coverage and hearing things that people were saying and were probably bothered by it. He's like, I got it. I can handle it. And that's the player mentality, and he's never going to lose that. So I think that's a good thing. I really do think he is who he is, and he was the right guy at the right time in that locker room last week, So all good. I don't think he was bothered by it much at all.
So Stephen Holder is with us. All right, speaking of bothered by it, I don't know if you saw this. I'm assuming you did. The post-game locker room celebration, the speech by Jeff Saturday interrupted by Jim Irsay to give Jeff Saturday the game ball, and then Jim Irsay having to ask Chris Ballard twice to come up there with him to present that. Was that anything? Am I overblowing this? What do you think?
I don't know. I would tell you this. Here's what I know about Chris Ballard. He likes to stay in the background. I'm talking about in those moments. You know what I'm saying? When it's about the team. Now, when it's his time to talk and, the draft and off season and those matters, he has no problem, coming out and being the face of those things. But he is a big believer in deferring to the head coach, particularly his first post-game speech. I think that was probably in Chris Ballard's view a really sacred moment for the head coach. But at the same time, let's not pretend this isn't awkward for Chris Ballard. Regardless of how this works, this wasn't his call. I think it's a stretch to say that he was in favor of it. Look, it's a tough time. And look, one thing I know about Chris Ballard, and I know this for a fact, like, he is a guy who is very much about running the show. Okay? Like, he is in charge. And that is never in question over there, right? But for the first time, that has been undermined a little bit, and I'm not saying this won't work. I'm just stating facts, right? This was taken out of his hands for the most part. This was driven by the owner, and it's a huge decision.
That, to me, maybe I'm wrong about this. This is just opinion. To me, though, that is probably a ditch or a crevice that's never going to be refilled again once that situation occurs. It's hard to double back and put that toothpaste back in the toothpaste case, bottle. What am I talking about here? So
I got you.
You know what I mean. It just seems tough to come back from that.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah,
I really do. And I've thought about this a lot, and I think the win helped, and it changed the complexion of the week. But those initial moments and how this unfolded, that still happened, as you said. It still happened. And you can't convince me Chris Ballard was thrilled about it. I refuse to believe that.
Well, I can't imagine in one of your colleagues in the national media covering the NFL had mentioned actually names. Discontent names here, being Ballard, and then Pete Ward. The Pete Ward one kind of shocked me a little bit. Wait a minute. It doesn't shock me because of the power that he has over there. I know that because he's had it for a while, but you just don't often see his name mentioned like that.
No, but Pete's the guy in Jim Irsay's ear more than anybody. Trying to keep the train on the tracks. You know what I mean? So I wasn't totally surprised by that, but normally his role is a little bit behind the scenes, so you don't see his name. But I wasn't surprised by it because he does have that sort of ability. He has a voice, I guess, with the owner and has some sway with him. Not this time, though.
Have you all wondered where that might have leaked out? Because that's a nugget right there, naming names.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I wasn't told names specifically, so I give the NFL Network credit for that. So I don't know, but I will tell you that in the first 24 hours or so, okay, right?
Yep.
I talked to a lot of people over there, and I didn't burn them, okay? But let me just tell you, a couple of those assessments are in my story that I posted on ESPN.com this morning if you want to check it out. But there were some brutal assessments of the situation from people who are not low-level people. Let's put it that way.
So
it was brutal. I mean, they were on fire in terms of just being angry about how it went.
Were they overall angry at it being Jeff for the lack of experience, or Jim Irsay making the call?
Like
how did that vary?
It felt like to them that it was an unserious move. That's the sense that I got. Like, this is not a serious move. And I listen, Jim Irsay may come out of this as a genius, okay? He may. And I'll tell you what, I'll be the first to write it if this works out. I've actually thought about this already. I think there's a story to be told about how he is, sort of pushing the envelope here, right? I think that's a very fair assessment if this thing goes well. But that doesn't mean that that people were going to have a positive reaction to it, because it was so unconventional. I mean, I don't think, and I actually think this too. This is a little bit of me reading the situation, so just bear with me. But I honestly think Jim Irsay was taken aback by the reaction, because I think he anticipated this going over really well initially, right? And he seemed combative in the press conference, I think, because the reaction wasn't what he thought it was going to be. The reaction was like, in some corners, the reaction was, "Are you crazy?" And I don't think he anticipated that. I think he thought he was going to get flowers for it, and that didn't happen.
Was that gloating on Twitter yesterday? Was that
that's what I saw.
Was that also directed at those non-believers within his own organization?
Oh, I don't know about that part, but I think just in general. Let me say this about the people in the building.
Yeah.
It goes back. This goes back to what I said earlier in the conversation, which is that Jeff Saturday crushed this in terms of how he handled it on a people level. Okay, he crushed it. He did the right thing. He handled it right. He had the right tone, and that went a long way. That went a long way with people in the building. So, I think there was a lot of shock and all that. So I think that simmered down as the week went on, and Jeff handled himself in the appropriate way. So yes, but generally speaking, Jim Irsay's tweet yesterday, I took it as, how you like me now. That's how I took it.
No, I did too, but it just makes you wonder, because though there were so many that disagreed within his own building.
Yeah, harder to say on that part.
Yeah, but maybe he was slinging arrows that direction too.
There definitely was some dissent. Let's put it that way. But I do think. I mean, listen, I've talked to people in there over the past several days, and I think Jeff Saturday, he is he's a very likable guy. He just is, and I think he's winning some people over in the building.
All right, late night gambling, a lot of drinking, and hitting up cheetahs on the weekend, and Stephen Holder's going to blame it on the flight to and from Vegas. Okay, whatever.
Listen, Saturday was my birthday, in fact. So, and I had a couple friends out for the game who had tickets. So, but we were very well behaved.
Is Cheetah still open there?
I wouldn't know, man. I don't know.
Come on, man. Come on now. I had a great night before I got married at Cheetah's back in 2000.
Hey,
I could tell some stories.
I wouldn't know about those things. I have no idea.
Oh my goodness.
I did have a tough night at the Mirage, though. So there's that.
All right, then. Well,
I'll admit to that.
It's a veteran move, blaming it on the flight. Way to go.
Right. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, man. We'll see you on Sunday. Thanks, Stephen.
All right, brother.
Stephen Holder, ESPN.com. On the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Is Cheetah still open in Vegas? It's been a long time. Long time. What is the, is it the Spearmint Rhino that also was a strip club? Maybe that's not there either anymore. There was also one out there called, was it Olympic Gardens? And they had entertainment for the dudes downstairs and B-52ing going on upstairs for the ladies. Little flybys. Now, that was back in the day, I'm not sure. That's a savvy move, though. I mean, you blame it on the flight. Yeah, I got a cold from the flight. Uh-huh. Quick break, we'll come back. Stephen Holder, Ben Brown, Greg Rakestraw. Podcast, 1075thefan.com. Room for you before the top of the hour. Let's make a note of that at 239-1070. Back with you next.
Helzberg Diamonds presents The Guy Who Was the MVP. Craig was proposing to his girlfriend and needed the perfect ring, so he asked her friends for some advice.
Get yourself to Helzberg.
Yep, Craig went to Helzberg Diamonds. He learned that Helzberg's been in business for over 100 years. That means quality. And with their price match guarantee, he'd get a great deal and find the perfect ring.
Wow, it's perfect. Oh, yeah.
MVP, most valuable proposer. Be like Craig. Find the ring of her dreams at a Helzberg Diamonds near you or at Helzberg.com.
Dan Dockage for Affinity Whole Health. Affinity is the leader in testosterone and hormone replacement therapy, and I got to tell you, I see why. Since I started a testosterone replacement program with Affinity, my energy, mental focus, drive, everything is up, and the physical benefits are amazing. Check them out at feelgreatindy.com. Guys, you can improve the way you look, the way you feel. You can build muscle and lose fat. Affinity will give you the roadmap. Go to feelgreatindy.com. That's feelgreatindy.com.
Hey, here's a great idea. You got to make sure that your car, truck, or van maintains that fall road readiness as we get into winter now. Have you seen some of the forecasts? Make sure that everything's good, from your tires to your brakes to your brake pads, oil changes, anything mechanically speaking, at your 14 Central Indiana Joe Childers run CarX locations. They've helped maintain my truck through 300,000 miles. They can help you maintain through the latter portions of the fall and into the winter. 14 Central Indiana, Joe Childers run CarX locations with one near you. To find it online, CarX.com today.
Tickets on sale now for Christmas Nights of Lights at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Purchase online early to reserve your time slot. Reservations are required. Christmas Nights of Lights is brighter than ever this season, as they have added several new light displays to their show of over 2 miles of driving route. They're excited to reveal one of their most creative and colorful light displays, the Field of Lights. Christmas Nights of Lights is open nightly, all holidays, rain or shine. November 11th through January 1st. They are reservations only, so purchase tickets at ChristmasNightsOfLights.com.
For over 25 years, Quality Supply and Tool has worked hard to set the standard for supplying the construction industry with all their industrial and commercial needs. Quality Supply and Tool adjusts their business to the customer, not the other way around, by offering a full inventory of industrial-grade tools, building materials, and concrete and masonry supplies. And Quality Supply and Tool stands behind everything they sell with a full-service warranty center staffed by skilled technicians that can fix about anything. Trust the experts at Quality Supply and Tool, a local family-owned company that thinks outside the box. Store.
This is Sam Hyde with the Salvation Army. This Christmas, over 5,000 children in central Indiana are depending on Angel Tree to put gifts under their Christmas tree. We need your help to make this happen, so we're making it easy to participate right from home. Angels can be adopted online by visiting salvationarmyindiana.org/angeltree. Choose your angel, buy their gifts, and return them to the Salvation Army by December 3rd. Learn more at salvationarmyindiana.org/angeltree.
Hey, John here for the best sports book around, that Caesars Sportsbook. Use the promo code RadioFull and get that first bet risk-free after you download the Caesars Sportsbook app today. Up to $1,250. If you whiff on that bet, you're going to get it back in site credit. But use the promo code RadioFull today. If you want to go with the Colts matchup with the Eagles, maybe some of this hoop coming up NBA-wise, or some college football later on in the week, I want you to go with the best sports book out there for a variety of reasons, and I'll get to some of those with Caesars rewards in a second. But use the promo code RadioFull, Caesars Sportsbook today. Again, those Caesars rewards, they just offer stuff that others cannot. I'm talking talking about experiences, free stays, tickets, and more. It's Caesars Sportsbook, promo code Radio Full. Open to new users in Indiana who are 21 years or older. Qualifying bet losers, bet amount returned to site credit. Got to use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos. For full terms, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, Indianapolis, I'm Scott McCauley, the voice of the Marian University football team. The NAIA playoffs begin this Saturday, and the 7th-ranked Marian Knights are at home hosting their longtime rival, the 11th-ranked St. Xavier Cougars. The NAIA FCS first round begins Saturday at 1:05 p.m. at St. Vincent Field. Ticket prices start at $15. For more information, visit MUKnights.com.
If you're serious about selling your home, call Mark Dietl and his team today at 317-755-4232 or online markdietl.com. That's markdietel.com today.
Who is running your business anyway? Let Teltex local professionals help you with your business internet, VoIP, and remote work needs. For a free review, visit ttibiz.com.
It's Kevin and Query.
Tony Dungy.
Do you believe Jeff Saturday's hiring is done with higher vision for his role?
I think he felt like for this moment, Jeff was the best person. 8 weeks down the road, I think he'll reevaluate. Maybe Jeff does a great job and he sees some things in him, but I know at the end of the year, they'll have a full-blown, okay, let's see what's the best thing for our franchise going forward.
Kevin and Query.
Weekday mornings at 7
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Ahoy, Ploy.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I saw lake effect snow for the armpit up there, and from the armpit to LaPorte to Elkhart. See that lake effect's like 6 to 10 inches up there. Stop giggling. Shout out to Michigan State fans. Here's some Detroit Rock City for you right there. Bluegrass for the Kentucky fans. Kiss and Detroit Rock City for our friends Michigan State. Kansas, maybe Dust in the Wind. I don't know if we're going to have enough time to do that. And somebody wanted me to get, I think it was Diggler wanted me to get Rappin' Duke in there for Duke. You guys remember that rap song from the 80s, Rappin' Duke? Bah-ha-da-ha. It is a quite awful song, but needs to be played on the JMV Takeover at some point. There's no doubt about that. The JMV, I just saw this online. It is true. Raising Cane's did run out of chicken in Avon today. I'll tell you what, shout out to Hendricks County, Avon, Plainfield, Brownsburg, west side of Indy. You guys just went ahead and ran Raising Cane's right out of chicken today. Well done. I did see the lines. The lines were rather lengthy. Big news of the day, Shaq Leonard, back surgery done for the season. And we will remain skeptical about his future until you actually see him play with that type of situation. You just have to. You just have to. Fair or unfair. With the collisions and with the length of time and the obstacles that has had to have been overcome by him to get back, 4 years remaining on a contract, had to be done. Hoping for the best. DeForest Buckner of the Colts is going to join us coming up on Thursday's show, too. Cannot wait, because if you're going to talk to anybody in that locker room that would have the absolute pulse on the feeling of last week, and then just how it feels. I mean, now you're a little bit more used to it than you were certainly with the chaos of last week. That feeling that Jeff Saturday has brought that locker room, including decorated veterans like DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner joins us coming up on Thursday. And we're going to be at the Bulldog, by the way, on Thursday, too. Me, Brent Halverson, Larceny Bourbon Locks, and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. I have not been to the Bulldog since it used to be Mo and Johnny's, and now it's the Bulldog. Before that, it was the Bulldog. We'll be there with our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. I believe Butler plays on Thursday night, too. So that should be a blast. And then Edgerrin James, the Hall of Famer, joins us coming up in the 4 o'clock hour tomorrow. That also should be awesome. Last time he was on the show, it was spectacular, and he was there to celebrate that first win with Jeff Saturday in Vegas on Sunday. Edgerrin James, the Hall of Famer. I'm curious whether or not he's going to be up here. We'll have to ask him that. You guys didn't dig on the Rappin' Duke there, I guess? T. Shaw writes this: what would GC Opoly consist of? Run over Possum Boulevard? Squirrel Hunting Way? Meth Producing Avenue? All of the above right there. I don't know what Meth Producing Boulevard would be worth. Probably a lot down there. That's just a couple of three. At JMV, yes, I had Licensed to Ill. And I eventually got the CD celebrating the anniversary of the Beastie Boys' debut release, Licensed to Ill. This date back in 1986. And I remember back when MCA passed away on that day, Frank Vogel, the then head coach of the Pacers, was on the show, and we talked at length because he's kind of in my age group too, and we all grew up big fans, still are to this day, of the Beastie Boys. That was a pretty big moment in music history for a lot of us members of Generation X. Marcellus at 239-1070 with the Larceny Bourbon Double Shot Power. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm great. Go ahead.
Hey, well, look, I was calling, man. You know, I was looking at the games and felt pretty good about Jeff, man. And I was just thinking,
yeah,
you know, I saw a documentary on, I don't know if it was a documentary. I think it was like Robert Irsay, talking about the Colts, and I'm a big fan, man. So I'm looking at a lot of history stuff, and I'm looking at Jim Irsay, and they had a little segment about how he came up through the family, you know, and how he always was in the locker room. He was in there. He said he would even do, you know, the manager stuff.
Yeah,
he
worked his way up from the bottom.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. So I'm wondering. Okay, I know he's a quirky guy. I know he's kind of, you know, he's had his problems, and everybody always brings that up every time he does something strange. But my thing is this, man. He's been around football players his whole life. He knows the psychology of a locker room. And I'm just thinking, sometimes this dude, I think, is crazy like a fox, okay? He goes outside. He knows what these football players need at certain times. And I think he has sat back for a long time. What would you say, 6 years, one playoff win?
Yeah.
He has been very hands-off. I know he's been a little handsy lately, and that kind of irks a lot of people. But this is still his thing, man. It's like giving somebody the keys to your shiny car and you watching Heckle and Jekyll drive it off the cliff. It's like, okay, hold it, stop. You know, and I'm gonna take the wheel. I'm gonna do something crazy, what you think is crazy, but I kind of know what I'm doing. And I think Matt Ryan played with a little more fire once I think that being on the bench hurt his pride a little bit. He knows he's better than that. He came back with some fire. I've never seen him run like that, man. You know, any of those types. He just looked like he was ready. He was stepping up in the pocket. Looks like all the guys were fired up. He brought a guy into this locker room that I think he's seen over his years. He's seen that type of guy. And he said, no, Jeff Saturday's that guy. I'm putting him in there. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, it worked this one game. But who knows, man? He may string together a Walt Disney type of ending.
Yeah, and Marcellus, when you think about it from that standpoint, you would think with a prolonged success in this hire, if that takes place, that will be more than just a slight ripple effect. You would think in the hiring process moving forward in the NFL as coaches. So
yeah, you know, it's a copycat league, man.
It is.
You know, if this works. And look, didn't Larry Bird not have any coach? I know it's a different sport, but he had guys around. He had Dick Harder and Carlisle.
Yep.
Our guy now. And I was thinking to myself, Bird's never coached. What's going on here? You know, but He was just, did he need to? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it. I'm just trying to make sense of
the enthusiasm that you bring, Marcellus. I got to run here, man. I'll talk to you on Saturday night, right?
My man, yes, sir.
Final one until New Year's Eve before the Christmas music hiatus starts next door on P105.7. But, part of the enthusiasm you had in talking about it, and I know it's just one game. I'm not trying to say it's anything more, and it's certainly not anything less. But the enthusiasm you just brought is the enthusiasm that I think everybody viewed, whether or not you were on that team or just kind of a bystander as a fan watching the game. That was a drawn conclusion by most Colts fans after that win, regardless of the level of competition that was thought to be on the other side. Quick break. We'll come back. Final time next. Trackside's coming up at 7 o'clock. Greg Rakestraw, Ben Brown, Stephen Holder, podcast 1075thefan.com. Edger and James on the show in the 4 o'clock hour tomorrow. You will not want to miss it. Don't leave.
If you're on the go, the Fan's on the go. You can listen anywhere streaming at 1075thefan.com or download the Fan app in the App Store or Google Play Store. Listen anywhere in the world, from Indianapolis to Indonesia.
Have fire, water, or mold damage? Call Hayes & Sons, your local restoration specialist with over 40 years of experience. At Hayes & Sons, they do restoration right. HayesandSons.com.
It's the Colts VIP Tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Make your game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your tickets now. It's BullseyeEventGroup.com.
PXG is now open in Indy, baby. Introducing PXG's newest retail store, PXG Indianapolis. Get fitted for hot new PXG golf clubs and our brand new state-of-the-art fitting bays. And shop PXG's off-the-hook apparel, hats, bags, all sorts of stuff. So come by our beautiful new PXG Indianapolis store, 6091 East 82nd Street. We'll be waiting for you. PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
My friends, it's your good friend, JMV here for Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. All right, it's that time of year again. Food, the fam, football going on. But when it's time for your post-feast nap, or you the dude on the couch, sawing logs so loud that everybody else trying to enjoy football has to leave the room. Snoring's an issue, and it's embarrassing. Let's do something about it with Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. They're going to set you up with a simple, comfortable, custom-fit mouthpiece that will stop your snoring without pills, hoses, or surgery. Snoring might not be your fault, but not doing something about it is. Get with Dr. Steve Green today at Aurora Sleep and learn more. Get that private consultation and do something about your snoring once and for all. That's StopYourSnoreNow.com. StopYourSnoreNow.com today.
What if the next time you painted your home was the last time you painted your home?
Our home has had Rhino Shield for 10 years.
Rhino Shield. Call 888-RHINO-41. Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Introducing Spectrum One. Get Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits per second. Advanced Wi-Fi with best-in-class security and privacy. Spectrum Mobile with unlimited talk, text, and data plus nationwide 5G. Get it all with Spectrum One. Spectrum Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for only $49.99 a month. Visit Spectrum.com or a Spectrum store today. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
It's PAI, WeGrowHairAndy.com, your real growing hair again. Just like me, you can get it. Private consultation, 888-724-5129 with Darren Andrews. Let him tell you all about how you can have your real growing hair again with PAI. 888-724-5129 or WeGrowHairAndy.com today.
College football coverage of this Saturday on The Fan is brought to you by Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning, your American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer in Pittsburgh.
A story of first downs and second chances. Meet former pro football player Michael Robinson.
I wanted to keep playing, but my feet hurt.
And all those big league experts couldn't help?
You have access to anything, but none of it worked.
Finally, he got fitted with Good Feet arch supports.
Let me tell you something. They work.
Now, he recommends Good Feet to
anybody. If you move, go to the Good Feet store.
Sign up for your free fitting at goodfeet.com. the children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Come in for a free fitting, no appointment needed. The Good Feet store, in the north, near Keystone at the Crossing or in Greenwood.
Hey, John here for Pickup USA Fitness in Noblesville. That's PickupUSAFitness.com. If you're struggling, fellas, you're a hooper, right? You want to get out there and you want to show everybody what you can do. Have a little fun hooping it up, but you can't find a spot to do it. Every single night you can at Pickup USA Fitness in Noblesville. A massive gym, huge weight, cardio, and training room as well. 2 full NBA-sized courts, and beginning at 6 each evening, you're going to have pickup games that are going to be refereed. This is a blast, too. That's where everybody's going to be going right now. So get your pre-sale membership starting at just $39.99 for you. So much to do, including a youth development league for young hoopers that's also available. Check it out, especially for you that want to get into the hoops action and you can't find those pickup games. It's PickupUSAFitness.com. Tell Scott that I sent you today. Pickup USA Fitness, Noblesville, a better way to play.
Prepare for snow with a new gas or electric Toro snowblower at the Mower Shop in Fishers and themowershop.com. Text Toro to 317-849-9500 for 50 to 100 off select Toro snowblowers.
Visit 1075thefan.com for your chance to win the ultimate game day experience. To see the Indianapolis Colts take on the Pittsburgh Steelers November 28th from Four Winds Casino.
The Ride with JMV.
You're going to eat your fat.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Shout out to Kansas Game 2. Kansas Duke Game 1. Michigan State and Kentucky. That gets underway in a little over an hour. Gainbridge Fieldhouse Champions Classic. Also tomorrow, a recap of Marquette and Purdue. That's the Gavitt games going on in West Lafayette this evening. Complete recap for you tomorrow. You guys have been fantastic. You know how fantastic? I'm going to go out because I just saw this commercial and I was mesmerized by it during the break. The Swan Contour Pillow. How much was it?
2 low payments of $29.99.
I was a little bit aroused by that commercial there. Did you see all that sleeping going on? Can you imagine? Got my mouthpiece in from Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic and my Swan pillow. There's a night's sleep right there, everybody. Thank you, Kyle, for all that you've done today. Rakestraw, Ben Brown, Stephen Holder, podcast 1075thefan.com. Bullseye Event Center passes tomorrow, and Hall of Famer Edgerrin James on this show in the 4 o'clock hour. You will not want to miss it. Shout out to Lounge via YouTube Live as well. Enjoy some hoops tonight. Back with you tomorrow at 3.